I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Live from the Xfinity remote studio. Well, good morning. Happy Tuesday to all across the Delaware Valley as we dig out from the blizzard. So hopefully everything goes back to normal tomorrow until I see, you look on the iPhone and then you see flakes. So I don't think it's going to be anything but a nuisance. But I look and see Wednesday flake, Thursday flake, Friday flake. I'm like, no, and even Monday flake. No, please just get us out. I want to be transported. I want 2 weeks. I want to be in 2 weeks where there's no threat of storm, no threat of snow. There's nothing. All right. And there's real sports. It's funny. We started the show. We were talking about it because there are certain days, just to take you inside baseball. There's days where the show ends like yesterday. And it was an interesting show because we talked a lot about Olympic hockey and everything else, right? And the USA wins the gold, and it was a fun show. We had good guests, everything. And immediately we start talking about what's the next day is, right? So I spent all day yesterday just hemming and hawing trying to figure out what today is. Now, we know that the combine – it's combine week. So we have a big combine stuff to talk about. All of our Eagles guys at PHLY are going out to the combine. And then we got Baldy today. So it's always good. So we'll get into the combine with him. Phillies, we're going to talk Phillies, but really nothing's happening. VG said that February 24th in history might be the most boring day in history, that nothing has ever happened on February 24th, right? So, which is actually great. So, we're talking about it, and I'm going, all right, what's the big story? Now, the big story is Sirianni talked in advance of the combine. He spoke, and, he didn't really say anything. So here's what he said. Let's just kind of go into what he was talking about, because he brought up A.J. Brown, right? Because obviously everybody's going to want to know about A.J. So he said, "It's my expectation is," he wants to hear you say it. Will A.J. be here next year? This was the punch quote. And you see it. Will A.J. be here next season? I think we're still in a spot. And he goes on to say, I think I'm going to be the coach next season, but you can't guarantee anything past tomorrow. Now, what does that mean? He knows he knows that this whole thing's a setup for him, right? This whole thing is about whether or not he can make something happen, whether or not he's able to go and put all this stuff together. There's talk about, he brought up the offense. He was asked about the new offense with Mannion, how it's going to work. He brought up this concept of, well, we're going to bring some old kind of thoughts and marry it with Mannion and have it like that. All right, that's good. But honestly, is it? What are we expecting? I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this whole thing. And do I think it's a Sirianni production? I don't. I think this is a Mannion production. But I also think there's so much to be done with this roster before we even talk about scheme. Again, the A.J. Brown stuff. Who's the receiving core? Who's the tight ends? You got an idea about the O-line, which is great. But, who's Jalen throwing to? That's a big deal. Who's he going to throw to? Where is it all going? That roster has so many questions as we enter the combine. And when it comes to Sirianni, I don't know. I think he looks at it the same way, which is, hey man, I'm going to try to get this thing on track, and I hope I'm the coach going forward after next year. But all this talk about Sirianni's future, it's always about now. You know that when you have a GM-led team, and a GM is good as Howie and that whole front office that he's put together, including Jeffrey Lurie, like, you know that they're going to direct the movie. It's their production. And that's where it's going to end. And Sirianni is just a cog. He's not like these other coaches where they have, a lot of power. That's just not the case. So he was asked the question. It's a lot of kind of posturing because I don't think we know. I think this combine will be very important for the Eagles because it's a convention. GMs are there, scouts are there. You're going to have coaches. You'll have everybody together, agents, and the agents are key in making deals. So I think this is a key moment in time. This is a key combine for the Eagles when it comes to A.J. Brown and their whole roster construction because this is where a deal will get done. Like the framework of a deal will get done. How we be talking to guys. You'll be in person. You got agents. You have other GMs. And, obviously, Bills will be interested. The Patriots will be interested. You have those teams that need receiving help that are going to be interested in A.J. Brown. And I think it kind of feels like it's going to happen. A deal is going to happen. That's what the tea leaves feel for me. Good morning, VG.
What's up, buddy? Hey. How are you? Happy February 24th. Yeah, I do the back in the day. I try and find something fun, something weird that happened. What a bunch of duds this day. Nothing exciting.
No, it's like there's a great quote in The Wire. The great show, The Wire. I love The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a 40-degree day. There's nothing special about a 40-degree day. You don't remember a 40-degree day.
Especially on a Tuesday. 40-degree Tuesday.
A 40-degree Tuesday, nobody cares about.
Nobody.
It's a tough day. Let alone February 24th, which is apparently what you say, which is
the best I can dig. The best I can dig out.
History of the year.
Wilt went 18 for 18 from the field one day. We can do with that. There's nothing fun or exciting about that. That's fine. So I had to dig a little deeper. Just had to work hard for today's back in the day.
Yeah, well, it was funny because I bring up the inside baseball, which is like when the show ends, like we get on, we're like, all right, tomorrow, and you're like, what's tomorrow? We know combine, we got spring training. The tough thing about covering spring training, and I've done it like from down there, is unless you have a big story, like my favorite spring training was the Four Aces. Like that was awesome. Like every day watching them pitch, then pitch against, other competition and watch them increase their pitch count and tracking them. That was fun. But like you look at this spring training and it's really just, hey, there's not a storyline. The storyline is, all right, you got to win and like when it's got to begin. Like that's it. You have little ones, but there's no overarching story.
Yeah, you got, there's some. I'm checking the box score every day. I'm looking to see how Bone's doing. Do we got any doubles coming out of him? I'm checking to see Garcia. The big story's Painter. Waiting to see Painter, what he looks like. If he get rocked, if he's okay. But that's all I got with the Phils. That's what I'm checking every day. The box scores.
No, and that's the point. That's why we talk about like you look at the Phillies and you're like, all right, like I got a lot of questions. I can't wait for it to start, but there's a lot of projecting forward. The thing that surprised me about yesterday, and I want to dive into this little side topic today, which is our patience and patience that we have, because there is none with the Flyers. There is no patience whatsoever at all. And it's really interesting to me because we have Jeremy Roenick on yesterday, and Jeremy is talking about he's one of the godfathers of American hockey, right? So talking about the gold medal. Obviously, he's close with Tocchet, JR and Tocchet. I watched those games on TNT, and those guys are in the studio together. Jonesy, like all of them. They've known each other for years. So the obvious question, with JR is like, what are we looking Flyers-wise? Now, do I expect him to go and throw Tocchet or Jonesy under the bus? No, I don't. But JR knows what he's talking about, and JR is not going to just fluff it up. We post on social media, and there is just no grace at all for the Flyers.
Ah, man, no benefit of the doubt at all. And I mean, they're like 50 years in. They're waiting for something to happen. And I think
but you can't look at it in 50 years. You drive yourself nuts.
But I think what they see is they're not thrilled at what this year's transpired. And someone like JR, no, they're not going to throw Tocchet under the bus. But Tocchet is ingrained in that brotherhood. And it's hard to find anyone to say anything like, maybe I would have done this a little different. Nobody's saying anything like that on the national thing, except I think Pronger's out there with some pretty honest takes on the Flyers situation right now. So it's just like, it feels like
you
he's
got to
just
look at Pronger going, what's his motive?
Yeah, right.
He wants to be a part of it, right?
Yeah. So it's like, like what's this take? You can't get an honest take because he's part of the old boys network. And the Flyers have hired with him.
Yeah, but
so
here's the problem.
Guys.
The problem is you can't look at a hockey draft and judge it 3 months into it.
Well, they're looking at what they've drafted, their second and third picks in the last couple of years, and they're seeing guys they missed out on who are right there in front of them are doing pretty well.
I get it. I get it. I get the Michkov stuff. I get it all. But this regime is what? A year and change into it?
Yeah. But I think you see, because Jet was a bit of a reach. People didn't think they thought he was a fast skater, and now there's the Finnish guy or whatever, the Hellenius is taken right behind him, the center right after him.
Yeah.
He's doing really well. They see that. They made everybody thought they reached on Nesbitt on that second pick.
Yeah, we all listen. I get it. My only point is they're just you got to still the book isn't done yet. You got to let's see what happens. I don't know what else to say. They just started.
Right away, Eddie Wright's in here saying it's not a year and change. Cuz stop.
What do you mean it's not a year and change?
I don't know with the Flyers. Well, Briere, this is his third season. He's like, this is Briere's third season.
Right. It's Tocchet's first season, right? Yeah. It's the new regime's. You're going to count Jonesy, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a part of the crew.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting them fired up. They're out. Joe Rockhead.
I know. And you can't even here's the thing. I gotta have some patience in that I'm gonna drive myself insane.
Yeah, I mean, we see that.
I want something to look forward to.
I mean,
I can't come on every day and just be miserable every day. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. I need some sort of restart, refresh button. With that team had nothing.
You got Joe Rocket agrees with you. There you go. But there people say this is the third year. March will be 3 years with Briere, and Jonesy was with Briere, so we're 3 years.
Yeah, but this whole thing is a complete teardown. This thing is a teardown, and you're in your third year.
I know, but I guess
what? The whole
it's just hard to expect. It's hard
impossible
to fan base to be patient.
Well, hold on. It's impossible to get an entire franchise that was rock bottom, almost rock bottom. They had no prospects, stuck in a bad spot. They weren't even rock bottom, which would have been better because you would have been guaranteed a higher pick, right? You have to turn this thing completely around, steering the ship. It's going to take longer than immediate kind of hope.
Here you go. Because it's not a good plan. I need a good plan to get excited about. What did they even tear down? It's not even a tear down. Which part has been a complete tear down because they haven't torn anything down? Yeah.
They're not good. They haven't been good. This team's different than it was 2 years ago.
TK, Coots, any vets got to go. That's from General JS. So, yeah, I sympathize with the Flyer fans, but I'm trying to give them I'm
talking to them as peers, right? Talking to them as I get you. I completely get it. I just don't know what to say other than I got to have some semblance of patience. Like, I get it's been 50 years, but I gotta. There's a natural break in who was running what regime that's been, right?
Yeah, but I feel like from my perspective, it feels like they're saying Tocchet doesn't fit the mold of like a rebuild. Saying Tocchet hasn't developed players for the most part.
How do you, like, when they're in Phoenix, he's in Phoenix and Vancouver, right? Like, I don't know what he's developed. I mean, listen, maybe you guys are right, and maybe that's not the case, but I don't know that I can make that sweeping judgment.
Caddyshack says, patience, LOL. They need to rebuild the rebuild.
That's a great line. That's a great line. You know what it is? Well, let me ask you the question. Is it with the Sixers process, there was the rock bottom where they had just no talent whatsoever? Are people upset? And I'll ask all the guys in the chat that you have any, like it makes sense when you talk about any of the vets, TK, right? Couturier, Mr. Golis, right? Like, do they want all that out and just kids?
That's a good question. I think,
like, are you looking to redo the process, basically? Because this was a process light. I'll term it like that.
Like, if Jet was good, like if Jet had some buzz going, I would excited. You want fast guys, skilled guys, speed guys, non-traditional flyer guys. But it doesn't seem.
But like my whole point, like, listen, I know that he's been scoring lately, and he's better on the wing than he is at center. And I know we need centers, right? So I get it, but I gotta at least, I can't close the book on a kid this soon.
And they've had some with the Cutter Gauthier stuff. Someone brought up the Nolan Patrick stuff. That was a killer. That was a pick that should have been a no-brainer.
Yeah, Nolan Patrick. That predates this regime.
Yeah, I know. Just all that stuff, you got to take it into consideration.
I get it. I'm just trying. I need some kind of hope. Like, I need to believe in something until I see direct evidence that there's ineptitude. I can't jump to ineptitude.
Here's Eddie Wright: bad drafting, bad acquisitions, bad hires. I mean, that is what the vibe is out there right now. Well, I think them not making the playoffs this year that stings a little bit too.
That's been, I mean, again, that's been, since 2010? Really, the last time the relevance has been 2010. And you remember the one series against Pittsburgh.
Yep. Joe Rockhead says Jet is Simmons 2.0. He'd have a breakaway and pass the puck. Oh man.
Oh my God. Here's the problem, right? Is that when we take the four teams in totality, right? I need something to just hold on to, man. I just need something because listen, the Eagles are entering a time of change, right? It's going to be change, man. Like, let's see. We're excited about it. It's football.
I think there's big changes coming pretty soon. If this is not a real nice season coming up.
I mean, the fact that Sirianni says, I don't know if I'm the coach, like that means something, right?
Yes.
Like, that's not it.
He's out there being like, I'm the point person. I was the point person on this Mannion hire. They gave me some names, but this is my deal. I hired them. It's almost like they're stepping back. They're like, we're going to give you the players. This coaching is all you, Nick. You pick your boy. You pick who you like. I mean, we gave you a name list we like. You pick who you want to roll with. You want to bring over a mesh and sprinkle in some concepts of last year? That's your call. Let's see how this plays out. We'll give you players. And it feels like this is good. This is Nick's make or break season. It feels like the organization is stepping back from Nick
this is what he says, right? I'm thinking I'm going to be the coach next season, but you can't guarantee anything past tomorrow.
And I understand where he's saying that. But
no. But think about that. The fact that he would say that.
Right. In public, in front of reporters. Yes.
Like when you're saying that, you're thinking about that. You're like, I don't know if I'm going to be the coach. Like, trust me, if that's in the back of his mind, there's a reason why it's in the back of his mind.
I mean, he could be a maniac with anxiety like me. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to be in the World Series this year if the Phillies go, but an anvil, a piano could fall on me when I'm walking down the street. So I don't know. He could be saying it like that.
No. He's not you. Listen, I can't deal with two of you. All right. He's not you. This is a real thing, right? Real thing. So that he's thinking about that. Like this is a big make or break. The Sixers, I mean, it's the same. It's like what's going to change there, right? Like I'll tell you how the rest of it's going to go. You know, you win a couple games, you get frustrated to lose. They're bad in the third quarter. They can't play defense, but you win a couple, keep you going. Playoff comes, Joe's back. Like, no, Joe will be back before that, but we'll trick ourselves into believing that with Joe and George back, there's a run to be had. Because once again, you can't go into the playoffs with a no hope mentality. Like that's no fun, right? So if you're going to go to a movie, you're going to suspend disbelief. You're going to say, "All right, I'm in. People can fly." All right, like all right, I'm down. So just so I can enjoy the movie. So in our minds, we're going to go to the Sixer playoff spring, going, all right. Well, with Embiid and George, they can make a run, and of course, there's going to be no run. and we're going to be left behind like, all right, build around Maxey and Edgecombe, and that's what it's going to be, right? Like,
yeah.
And we love those two, and we should love those two. But unfortunately, it's probably not enough, right? Like, until you get past the Embiid, George contracts, I don't know how you move past into rebuilding them into a legitimate contender.
So who do you feel like is in a better spot right now, the Flyers or the Sixers?
It's a great question. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, the Flyers have a cleaner slate. Like, there's a cleaner path because the Sixers' path, you have two gigantic sinkholes in Embiid and George's contract.
Right.
Like, if Embiid's health, like, I could count on it, but I don't know. This latest bout with the shins, he's questionable for tonight. He may come back tonight. You know, like, you're a couple guys from developing and two good free agents away of being a competitive team. And Michkov gets back.
And then if we look at hockey, they do have some cap space, but now the league's changing where free agents aren't getting to free agency.
Yeah, I get you. But you get my point, which is
I do get your point.
There's a cleaner turnaround for the Flyers than there is for the Sixers because of Embiid and George and their contracts. Anyway.
And I guess what we're feeling, General JS is saying the thing you might be right, because the thing we heard about the Sixers in the tank, you don't want to be Atlanta. And he's like, the Flyers are stuck in hockey purgatory because they never fully embrace a rebuild.
Yeah. I get it. I do. I feel you. All right. We got lots to do coming up. I'm so pumped up to have Corey Seidman with us. Corey is a great baseball dude. I love Corey. Very excited to have Corey. Corey's going to join us. He's heading down to spring training. So he's going to be giving some great stuff from down there. I want to kind of get a little package going with the Phillies and kind of where we're at. We're a week and change away from the World Baseball Classic. The Phillies have 16 guys that are going to be playing in that World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
So
everybody stay healthy. Everybody stay healthy.
Yeah, but I love the World Baseball Classic. I'm watching, like you and I will be all over that. We'll be watching that. But I want to talk to Corey about a multitude of things, the things that he can't wait to go see down in Clearwater. So we'll talk to Corey coming up. But first, let's talk about our friends. All right, the NBA full slate is back, and you can have some fun on the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. You can bet all the player props. You got obviously Sixers and Pacers tonight. So there's a million ways to go. SGPs, hockey's back tomorrow. So you got Flyers and Caps tomorrow. So you got all of college basketball in full slate. Make the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app your go-to app. They'll have World Baseball Classic, all those lines, so you can get some skin in the game and play some great casino games too, where there's always another way to win on the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. New customers get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours, plus 250 free spins. How about that? On a couple select games. You got to check that out, man. BetParks.com has all the details. Live roulette, craps, blackjack, right there on your phone. All the hot slots like Cash Eruption, Cleopatra, you name it, Huff and Puff. It's right there. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Michigan. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So my morning routine begins at Wawa. I think like most everybody else, but it's the greatest routine ever. It's the $5 breakfast deal, and it's a deal. You're talking about your sizzly. You want bacon, egg, and cheese. You want sausage, egg, and cheese. You want a bagel. You want a wrap. It's right there. Hash brown, coffee, all right? Any size coffee. I'm a Wawa coffee fan, all right? Whole thing, just $5. Now you can, if you want to switch it up, you want to go with the new caramel chocolate craze flavors, you want something different, you want a little sweetness to it. But anyway, you're in, you're out. You got enough fuel to actually get you going in the morning. You got meetings. You got stuff to do. Wawa is the fuel. 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. every day. Wawa.com. Limited time availability. Get fueled up at Wawa.
We love our Wawa. And we love our new addition to the PHLY staff, our buddy on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line, Corey Seidman.
What's up, Corey?
How you guys doing? I'm heading down to Clearwater this afternoon, and I cannot wait because I don't think I can do another snowstorm here.
Oh, dude. I am so, and it's ice again this morning. It's all ice. It's treacherous out there this morning.
Dude. Yeah, and then I looked, and it looks like it's going to be mid-70s the whole time I'm there. So this is definitely the time of year that, you know, baseball fans are starved for action and starved for the palm trees and the sun, and we're finally almost there, huh?
Yeah. Brother, we're going to live vicariously through you because I think I'm at my wit's end. Like, I want to get rid of hoodies and get rid of blankets, and I'm done. I
don't want to put boots on anymore. I want to wear sneakers. I
want the sun and a t-shirt. Oh,
it's just felt like such a long off season into such a long wait, you know, to get past this cold part of the year. But, you know, I don't know. When I start to see, you know, highlights of spring training games and the happiness on fans' faces, that's what reminds me that like the best time of year is approaching.
So let's get into it. As you head down there, give me the storylines that you're going to be like the first thing on your front lobe that you're going to be attacking.
Well, the reason that I wanted to go down at this point in camp is because you figure that Andrew Painter's first start is somewhere around the corner here. The Phillies have not officially announced when it's going to be, but Taijuan Walker is going to be the first Phillies starting pitcher, and then like you're going to see the other members of the rotation follow this week in camp. So Painter's first start, whether that's this weekend, early next week, that's going to be, you know, all eyes on him because we haven't seen him pitch live in a game in 3 years. He performed very well in the Arizona Fall League last offseason when he won the Pitcher of the Year award when he was coming back from Tommy John surgery. This was 2 winters ago. But other than that, there hasn't been much of an opportunity to see this guy at full bore. You know, last year at AAA, his command wasn't there, but there are reports that he's lowered his arm angle to match where he was pre-Tommy John. And so curious to see if that results in anything big for Andrew Painter. Also just excited to see Justin Crawford, how that speed translates on the base paths. He's already performed pretty well here in a couple of spring training games, and it gives you you start to envision a scenario of like, okay, Crawford batting ninth and he hits a single, and maybe he steals second and Trea Turner singles. All of a sudden you have first and third with elite speed on both corners just for Schwarber and Harper, you know, the big bats. So you can kind of see how Crawford might be able to push the offense forward a little bit as well. And just to kind of get the overall vibe of the team, it's obviously many of the same faces as previous seasons, but there's been enough turnaround that this feels like a different group. And obviously we're not going to know whether this group is good enough until September rolls around, 6 months from now, but there's going to be a lot to dissect between now and then anyway.
Where do you think the fan base is? Because it's interesting. The Bichette, if that would have happened, everybody would have been through the moon. You would have had because the one thing I think they've needed was a switch. Like Bohm, they needed to switch out Bohm for someone, I think, that would excite them a little bit. They need a little bit. I'm not saying wholesale change, but a little change.
No, that was the same vibe I got. I mean, Phillies fans were all over Bo Bichette, and they really wanted him, and that would have been like the perfect cap to the offseason in terms of re-signing Schwarber. Probably means you wouldn't have brought back JT. You would have had a lesser catcher, but you would have had that versatile bat in the 4 spot in Bichette who can hit for power and hit to all fields, and he's a bad ball hitter as well. It seems to me like the fan base is just in wait-and-see mode. Like they've been through this for 2022, 3, 4, and 5, where the team's really good on paper, and the team looks like it's going to win 90 to 95 games, but it's just like, what does it even matter? Baseball's gotten to a point where the regular season has become mostly meaningless. It's why you see the league talking about like in-season tournaments and different ways to spice things up over the course of 162, because if you're a team in the Phillies position, you pretty much know this year that you're going to make the playoffs. The rest of the National League landscape is not strong. The Braves have already taken a couple major hits within the division to their starting rotation. So it just seems to me like the fan base's thought process is good team. I don't know if it's good enough. They'll have to prove it to us.
You just said something that is frightening, all right, about the regular season and how this idea, and it's a mindset that we're in with every sport, except football, because you have these long seasons. The mindset is, hey, what about the playoffs? We just begin the season. It could be NBA, NHL, we talked about both early, or MLB, and we're fast forwarding the regular season. And you start to think about it, and it's with each year the regular season was devalued, right? In baseball, it used to be you win your division, it's the NL East and the NL West. And you win a division and you're playing the NL West in the league championship series, right? When the Phillies won in 80, that was the playoffs. And so the regular season mattered. Mm-hmm. Devalued the regular season now through all the layers of playoffs. I don't know that you can get the toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the multiple rounds of the playoffs that doesn't help, but it's also the fact that most of the mid-market teams just don't try. Like, did the Cleveland Guardians sign a player this offseason?
Yeah.
I'm just using them as an example, right? You have the major market teams like the Phillies and Yankees who treat every season like World Series or bust because they're spending so much money. And then you have the mid-market teams who are like, you know what? We might not need to spend all this money. We might be able to kind of luck our way into the playoffs, and it makes more economic sense for us if we luck our way into the playoffs as opposed to sign 2 more $20 million players. So when those mid-market teams don't keep adding, it gives less incentive to the contending teams to keep adding as well. And I mean, I do give the Phillies a lot of credit. They haven't pulled the plug at any point. Like this, they spent $91 million more last season in payroll and tax than any year prior, and they were still willing to push the payroll significantly higher this season with Bichette. They're still higher now than they were last year by slight, but it would have been like $30 million more if they added Bichette. So they're committed to keep spending, but a lot of teams are not.
Don't you feel like with the spending though, Bichette was like an anomaly? And there's Middleton's at a threshold, it feels like, with the luxury tax, where I guess if you go 3 straight years, they're getting hammered with it. But I mean, it just seems like there's depth pieces around it. They could have spent a little money on $15 million here, or Eugenio Suarez, just some cash that it seems like they're apprehensive about.
Yeah, no doubt. And Bichette was kind of an anomalous situation because he's a 27-year-old free agent. It was kind of like when Bryce Harper became a free agent, that one of the reasons it appealed to every team wasn't just because he's a star, but because he's a star who's at an age where he's like 3-4 years before the prime even begins. So Bichette was a unique circumstance, and the Phillies were not going to just go pay that $25-30 million a year to anybody on the free agent market, as evidenced by the fact that like Zach Gallen was out there for a while, Chris Bassett was out there for a while. Phillies could have used another starting pitcher, but they didn't go down that road. I wouldn't say that they're at a threshold. They're just at a point where like it has to be the perfect fit. Like it needs to be the perfect financial fit. The flip side of that, though, is that they do have significant money coming off the books after this season. You finally have the $20 million you're no longer paying Castellanos, the $18 million you're no longer paying Taijuan Walker, the $10.2 million you might move on from with Alec Bohm. So there's going to be a lot more flexibility past this season once they get past the CBA negotiations between them.
Assuming there is a season. I mean, you're right. Like that is a great point that you bring up about those other teams not spending or trying. When you have too many teams, like how do you get excited for a midweek game against the Marlins, the Pirates, the Nationals? Like there's a lot of dead teams, man. The Rockies, like there's so many dead teams across the league.
And then you have teams that like perform well, but then still don't have the resources to go be able to spend, like the Brewers.
Right.
The Brewers are good every year, but they can't keep guys and they don't do a good job of supplementing their core. And that's why like the Phillies this season, 162 games, they're going to be favored in like 140 of them, because when you line the two teams up, there's few teams that are going to have both starting pitching and lineup advantage over the Phillies on a given night.
So what happens, Court? Like, where does it go? Let's look at the big picture MLB, because the NBA has dealt with its regular season woes, and it's just gotten worse. And then they tried that ridiculous tournament. That's an unmitigated failure. Nobody cares about the NBA Cup. The players don't even care about the regular season. It's a real issue. And then if you look at baseball, which is double the length, to me, the only way to save it is you pair it to 140 and you add the extra tier of playoffs and you go, let's go. Like you make them all 7-game series and you go, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, like I would be on board for that. And I don't think the season needs to be 162 games. Like if we were starting Major League Baseball today, would it be 162 games or no? Because that's just the way it's been for so many decades. I don't think we're going backwards in that sense because of all the money that's involved with extra games. But and also when people start talking about like, institute a salary floor so that these lesser market teams spend, well, that's only coming with the salary cap as well. And it doesn't seem like that is a starting negotiation point for the player side for a salary cap. So short of that, the only thing I can think of is that you just further incentivize the teams that win the league, that finish like 1 or 2 in the league. I mean, I thought about a decade ago when MLB started tinkering with the playoff format that the top team in each league should get to just pick its playoff opponent in that first round in the NLDS. Like if you're the 1 seed, you should get to watch what happens in the landscape of the playoffs and select the team that is in the worst pitching situation. Again, I don't know if that's going to ever happen because there's all that travel associated with the MLB playoffs that like you need to know where you're going and what dates you're going. But I don't know. You just need to give more incentive to the team that goes 106 and 56 and then has a chance to be done in 3 or 4 days.
No, I'm with you, man. That's why over the first early series, they got to be longer because the longer the series, the longer it favors the favorite, right? Like if it's a 3-game series, I don't care if it's all on the road, you got a shot, right? Like you could win those games. Like it's baseball, man. It's not whatever. It's one homestand is what it is, man. You don't know where it's going to be.
I think back to that wild card series the Phillies had in St. Louis in 2022 that started this whole playoff run. The Phillies were dead offensively for 8 innings, came alive in the 9th inning of that first wild card game, and then carried it over into the next game of like the momentum. And just like that, the Cardinals season was over. So, I mean, it just shows you the randomness associated that could have easily gone the other way. And if it did go the other way, who knows if the Phillies would have even began this run of, playoff contention.
Yeah, no, you're so right, man. It's and that's baseball. So on the flip side,
while we're on this, can I just ask you guys both one question just about like trying to penalize these bottom feeder teams? Do you guys think it would have any bearing? Like if you're in the bottom third of the league for 2 consecutive seasons, you can't get relegated, but maybe your draft picks do. You don't get your picks go to the bottom of the first round. Would that have any impact on these guys?
I think it would. I mean, you're starting to see that discussed a little bit in the NBA to combat multi-year tanking. That like, proposals about you can't finish you can't pick top 5 X number of years in a row. But I do think that would have a little bit of bearing because if you're a team in the Nationals position, for example, you know that you're going to be 29th or 30th year several years in a row. So what incentive do you have to go out and sign any veterans? And that's why the middle class of veterans, the price tag on those guys is just shrunk because you're either getting paid at the top of the market or you're signing a minor league deal or a low guarantee close to spring training.
The only problem, though, is you still have to build a team, right? Like, and then you have to afford and keep your players. So it doesn't do them any good a lot of times these prospects because they can't afford. They're wind up trading the prospect before he fully develops into a superstar. I mean, look at the fact that Skubal, how long do you think Skubal's going to be in Detroit? Like, he's already talked about being traded this year.
Yeah, it's probably his last year with Detroit. I mean, look, like you just made the point, like the Nationals, they rebuilt when they traded Juan Soto, and then they just traded some of the pieces that they got in that rebuild to start another rebuild. So It is really difficult when you're at the bottom of the league to figure out a way up. But I'm just of the mind that what is the point of owning a professional sports team unless you're going to spend what needs to be spent to contend? Like, I don't.
But again, the problem, and I'm with you, and I agree, but the problem is the economic structure of the sport, and the revenue sharing isn't there because you can't have the Pirates and the Dodgers in the same league.
Right. I mean, I think I just read recently that like Shohei Ohtani's contract is worth more than the Marlins owner is worth. Okay, so like when you have that lopsided of a gap in ownership, and then you add like Steve Cohen, for example, who's changed the entire landscape of the league with these ridiculous long-term and short-term contracts. Baseball's definitely reached a boiling point. I mean, we're not. A few years ago when there was like the labor strife, there were a lot of fans who were on the side of like everybody was on the side of the players as they usually are. And I'm not saying that people are more so on ownership side this time, but I think you have more of America realizing right now that it's a broken system. Maybe the salary cap is not the solution, but it can't go on like this.
See, I
do think the cap is paramount. I don't know any other way where you can create some sort of equitable scenario, right? Like, let me think about it. Like the NFL, you could have Green Bay and the Rams exist on the same planet. I mean, that's the goal. The goal is for the Pirates and Dodgers to be on the same plane, and so that they can compete.
You got to call the Pirates out a little bit. There's a chart going around about how much payroll how much revenue they spend on payroll. I think it's in 2024, where the Dodgers spend 73% of all their team revenue on payroll, and the Pirates spend 34%. So the Pirates, as the ownership group, are pocketing a chunk of money, man. They need to up the percentage of the revenue they're paying on payroll.
That may be right, true, and you might be right, but the Dodgers pie is a lot bigger. So the 27% that they're pocketing is more than the 66% that the Pirates are pocketing.
Right. They're a global entity. The Yankees are a global entity in ways that like the Royals and the Guardians and the Pirates can't be. So there does need to be some sort of balancing out, because even if you look at the NFL, for example, where all the teams are theoretically at the same level in what they can spend, you still have people like Howie Roseman who find loopholes and ways to push things forward, even when they're working under the same rules. So you will still see creativity from front offices if there were to be a salary cap system. It's just obviously the players don't want that because it limits all current and future earnings.
Yeah, and I'm with you, but hey, the health of the league is more important. The fact that you can't go the NBA route where it's just a family can't afford to go to a game.
Right.
Like you can't afford to go to a game. You just can't. In baseball, there's 162 games. You got to be able to make it affordable so you have people in the seats. And your game, and here's the other issue, right? Like football's the greatest of both worlds, right? Because it's a great TV sport. And the TV deal is what it is. But you saw baseball. Baseball had to leave ESPN for NBC. NBC paid significantly less for the rights to air Major League Baseball games. Because, let's face it, we love it, and we're watching our Phillies, but there's not – and I love Sunday Night Baseball, and I'll have it on, but it's not appointment TV. It's not like Sunday Night Football. Come on.
No, I mean, it's nothing like when I was growing up. Like, I grew up at the peak of the steroid era. I was 9 years old when it was the McGuire Sosa summer, and like that was what captivated me as a little kid. And I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that place where you have fan bases in that many cities that are that tuned in and feel like their teams have a chance, and regular season baseball can be appointment viewing. That you hope that they get to that place. There's still so many stars in this sport, so many teams that should be really good, but it's just gotten to a point now where it's February 24th and like 28 fan bases are thinking, all right, we know the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. And now it just becomes a battle of like, how do teams play spoiler all year into October?
Yeah. And to your point about the problem is it's just when you play that many games, your Sunday night's not going to be special, right? You know, that's just the truth of the matter. And you can get great matchups and we'll watch because it's the only game it's at. And I love baseball, like you love baseball, and we'll all watch it. But it doesn't have the same, fervor just because you have 162 games. I mean, that's
the one thing that 162 does still allow that's helpful is like the attrition rate. Because you look at a team like the Dodgers, until last year, they didn't get to the playoffs with their pitching intact. It was like every year their starting pitching would break down no matter how much they added to it. So when you do have a 6-month schedule where you have to play every day, you have those unforeseen injuries, or you have the pitchers that get sore elbows or are not throwing 97 in August the way they were in April. So, I mean, that's the one benefit of a long season. Yeah, it does that the better team will outperform the worst teams over time, but it also just allows for more randomness.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, let's look at the division. So right now, where do you stack the Phillies up against Atlanta and the Mets?
Well, coming into spring training, all three teams look pretty even to me, but the Braves have suffered two terrible pitching injuries here.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, Spencer Schwarber is as good a young pitcher as there is in the National League. He's completely dominated the Phillies the 5 times he's faced them. Then they brought up Hurston Waldrep late last year, who again was another in this long line of Braves pitchers who immediately produces after being called up. Well, both of them are out for at least the first half of the season with elbow injuries. They both had procedures on their elbows, so they're both on the 60-day IL. I look at that as already a major blow to the Braves. Like, I think they're going to be better with Acuna coming back, and Austin Riley's probably not going to have the career worst year he had last year. But I don't see enough starting pitching with the Braves. I don't see enough bullpen with the Mets. If I were to handicap it right now, I'd probably have the Phillies at 94 wins, the Mets at 92, and the Braves at 88 or 89, with probably all three teams making the playoffs. I just do see a more complete roster with the Phillies right now. Like, the top half of the Mets lineup is formidable, no doubt. Soto and Bichette, and if Semien comes back and he's something, then it's a dangerous top of the lineup. But don't see enough reliability at the back end of the Mets bullpen. And if the Freddie Peralta acquisition was something they needed, but even still, beyond him, it's like a rotation of number 3 at best starters.
Yeah, and even Peralta, I like him, but he's a 5-6 inning pitcher.
Right.
He's going to tax for a team that doesn't have a good bullpen, you're just going to tax your pen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Mets, they made a lot of headlines this offseason, but they also subtracted a lot of players. So, when you do the what's out versus what's in, analysis, I don't know that they're substantial. I mean, they were so disappointing in the second half last year, so they probably feel like any different mixture of talent is going to be better for them. But no, I don't go into this season thinking the Mets are clearly better than the Phillies or even on the same plane as them, because the Phillies have more in totality. They might not have the better offense, but I think they have a better overall team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I would have the Phillies still as the favorite in this division. VG?
Yeah, I agree. I was just going to say, I'm just so glad, speaking of their subtractions, Nimmo is not on the Mets anymore. And then I just realized I got to see him on opening day with the Rangers. Take it away from this guy.
But it's great. No Nimmo. And
no Nimmo for
I think no Alonso hurts them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's hitting 45 bombs a year. It just seems like the personalities weren't meshing anymore in that clubhouse. If I had to guess from the outside looking in, it's almost like you had those guys who were established there over such a long period of time in Alonso, McNeil, Nimmo, who probably felt like it was their clubhouse. Then you bring in Lindor and Soto, and it becomes their clubhouse because they're the leaders of the team. So it seemed like there was some headbutting going on between all those guys. But losing Alonso, it's 45 and 130 in the middle of your lineup. And I'm sorry, I know that Jorge Polanco is a good all-around player, but that's not replacing Pete Alonso's bat.
Well, yeah, and in my mind, which I'm thrilled about, but Soto, and I know Soto was hitting second, But, like, to me, I would have had those two hitting back-to-back. I mean, they're just a natural back-to-back kind of situation. I just think when you're losing right-handed power, nobody's got right-handed power anymore. Like, that having right-handed power is now, it's amazing because everybody was right-handed. Now everybody's left-handed, and the right-handed power is diminished completely. Look at it.
Yeah, I mean, just look at how tough it's been for the Phillies to find that perfect right-handed complement in the middle of their lineup. Like, you'd figured that they, along the way, I mean, they thought they had it into Castellanos, but you would have thought that along the way here that they would have found the ideal right-handed bat behind Bryce Harper that prevents teams from going outside the zone with him, and it just hasn't materialized. I think it's still at some point the Phillies should be able to find that, whether it's this trade deadline or next offseason, because that remains like the biggest need in the organization right now is that powerful, consistent right-handed bat that they don't have. I mean, Trea Turner is great, but he's not going to bat fourth for this team. He's going to lead off, so you need someone else.
Is there one guy in their system that you go, that kid can hit 45 bombs?
In the Phillies system right now? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess the most raw power among their prospects probably belongs to like Gabriel Rincones Jr., but he projects as like a platoon corner outfielder. So, I don't know if they have someone who's coming up who's like Aiden Miller, best case scenario for him. He might hit 290 with a high OBP and 25 bombs. Justin Crawford isn't going to be that guy, but no, they don't have that like, Adam Dunn raw power guy who is just like waiting to come up. Most teams don't, but
I know. I need a 40 bomb guy. Maybe 45 is a lot to ask, but I need a 40 bomb guy that I'm developing. I can't develop a freaking outfielder. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, it should be such a plentiful position. You think about how different this whole thing would have gone if Bryce Harper never injured his elbow and he was playing right field this whole time because of, who knows, maybe Rhys Hoskins would have stayed. And but
how real was the Rhys Hoskins coming back then?
It didn't seem all that real to me just because there was no fit. Like it would have been a bench. It would have been a first base only bench option who's going to who would pinch hit and then have to have a defensive replacement / pinch runner come in for him. So it just didn't make any sense. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice to have another right-handed bat with pop off the bench, but where are you going to play that guy? The Phillies tried to play him in left field once upon a time. It didn't work out. The only other way that this could have worked out is if they were willing to move Kyle Schwarber to left field on a more regular basis than they have been. I think Schwarber played 8 games in left field last year and 5 the year before. That's the ideal number because any more than that, and you're like, if you would have signed Rhys Hoskins and then moved Schwarber to left field, you're offsetting a lot of that offensive advantage by putting Schwarber in left field as opposed to having Brandon Marsh out there.
Yeah.
So I think that the reason that it may have been slightly realistic is because Hoskins did not take much. I mean, what did he sign a minor league deal with the Guardians worth $1.5 million reportedly?
1.5.
If he's in the majors. So like any team could have done that, but it just
–
positionally you need more versatility out of that spot on your bench. You can't have a one-position bench guy that you're never going to put at that position because Harper's playing first base.
I know. Core, listen.
Would you guys have wanted that? Would you guys have wanted the Hoskins return? Or would you?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like, I need somebody. I need an outfielder. I need somebody that I know is like I like Garcia. I think Garcia is going to wind up being good for him. But, I need another one. I need somebody else besides him.
Of course, can Brian De La Cruz give you 15 to 18 home runs from the right side?
I don't think – I mean, he did that with the Marlins when he was playing every day. When he was playing every day, he was able to do that. But if he's not playing every day, I don't think so. I mean, a guy like that, I think you're looking at, like, can this guy have a couple good at-bats for me a week off the bench? But I look at that spot, and I wrote the other day that I think it's just as likely that final bench spot for the Phillies is somebody they sign who gets cut by another team at the end of camp as it is Brian De La Cruz, because he's not a slam dunk himself. They just do need right-handed pop in that spot.
Yeah. Do you think Dylan Moore's got a chance to be here for his defense?
He's another guy who's in that mix for the final bench spot because he's played every position. Again, I think you need more offense out of that spot because he's like a 200 career hitter. He does have some plate selection. I just don't think he gives you like you're never going to pinch hit with that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he could be a defensive replacement. He can help you with versatility, but you're never going to pinch hit with that guy. And just think about like outfielders. I remember like Taylor Ward, for example, of the Angels was traded earlier this offseason. He was a guy that was on the block. That's the kind of outfielder you need to bring in. A guy who, not that he's a stud, not that he's an elite player, but you can rely on that guy to hit 25, 30 home runs, play every day, hit you 270. And so that's the type of outfielder that would really work well here. the Adolis Garcia situation, yeah, he has a chance to be really good. There's also a chance that it doesn't work out. So he's as risky as he could potentially be rewarding.
My man, listen, have a great trip down there. We'll be bugging you. We're going to kick it off. I want to see the pictures of you down there in a T-shirt looking at palm trees. All right?
I can't wait, man. I cannot wait. Let's do it.
Thanks, buddy. You're the best. Corey Seidman on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. Let's get right to it because we only have a few minutes. I got to get my man up here. We got a full slate of NBA back. College is cooking. We got to talk to the brain.
Brain. Red, the Brain Feinberg.
Line. Good morning, Brain.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Well, just get a few minutes with you is great because you always brighten our day.
Appreciate that.
Especially like it feels like the February doldrums have hit us. Brain, you missed another blizzard.
I know. Listen, well, no, it's not true. I was at Dairy Queen last night.
You bastard. What do we got cooking? What do you got? Anything tonight? The Daily Grind?
Yeah, I got some stuff for you,
Sportsbook
man.
online casino app.
Here's what we got. I'm going to give you 3 props to start out. Andrew Nembhard, man, this guy, it's funny. I bet him at like 20-1 odds to average 8 assists from Word this year. He's giving me a sweat. He's around now at 7.5. His last 23 games, though, he's averaging 8.5 assists. He made his over-under 6.5 tonight. That's a joke. 17 and 6 his last 23. Andrew Nembhard over 6.5 assists first play. Miles Turner, ex-teammate of his, they made it 11.5 points. With Giannis out last 20 games, he's 14 and 6 the over, averaging 13.5. 2 points too light. Lands on 12 or 13. That was our edge. And this is just a 50-50 bet. You take even money, but it's 33 and 20 for the year. Okongwu, center for the Hawks, over 2.5 assists, guys. He's been getting there. And then over 33 out of 53 games. And a couple games I like. Cavs playing really well, guys. I mean, they finally lost yesterday or 2 days ago to the Thunder, but I really like the way they played since they've gotten Harden. I think they're like 7-1 or whatever it is. I like them laying 3.5 against the Knicks. I'll give you 2 more. Miami against the Bucks. Bucks have been playing a lot better. They're actually trying to make the playoffs, which is now the NBA has become who's trying, who isn't. This team actually is trying. I'm not saying they're good, but getting 6.5 at home against Miami, I thought this line should have been closer to 3.5, 4. Give me the Bucks in the game. I won't be shocked if they win outright, plus 6.5. And again, no Denny Avdija for Portland Trailblazers. Big loss, but 6.5 points again, a little bit too high to me at home against Minnesota. I say Portland keeps this one tight. Give me the Blazers plus 6.5.
All right, buddy. Anything Sixers and Pacers?
Yeah, the line's sitting, Anthony, around 10.5. I mean, the Sixers to me are just that team. If anyone knows how to bet on this team, please call me, DM me or whatever. Every time I'm like, okay, they're I can't take it. And then they beat Minnesota by 25, who's actually a good team. Look, it's a game they should win, but I'm not laying 10.5 with the Sixers. And Indiana is not trying, so it's just a pass for me.
Brad, can I ask you, they're atrocious in the third quarter. Is that something you hop on, or should we hop on that? Just bet against them in the third quarter?
Well, it's funny. I'm going to tell you guys what my favorite subset is. It's not, VG, necessarily what you're saying, but I love when you have a double-digit favorite. Let's say they're up by 20 at halftime. I love taking them like -1 in the third quarter because in the third quarter, they're still going to play their guys. Fourth quarter is when you get the exhibition time. You don't know who's going to play. It's garbage moments, and the game can go from 24 to 17 in the last 3 minutes. But in the third quarter, if you're taking a team that's a double-digit favorite, you're always going to get them playing in that third quarter. And instead of laying like 3 points, they'll lower to 1 if they're up by 20. But it doesn't make a difference if they're up by 20 because they're still playing their guys, as opposed to the fourth quarter where you get the garbage time. Yeah, but the Sixers, look, VG, third quarters with them, I don't know if it's something I can count on or it's just like a fluke,
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to – I always think you got to watch the game and see how the game's going.
I think that's fair.
You know, when you look at a team, like you see kind of defense they're playing, because if you know at some point they're going to get outscored in a block of time. So New Orleans made sense that the third quarter now usually been better in the fourth quarter, but the third quarter they got smoked.
Absolutely smoked. And again, but it's funny, New Orleans, Anthony, again, one of the rare teams that stinks, that's trying. Again, the NBA from a gambling perspective, it's like Utah, and now I'm saying this and I'm admitting this, I want to say one of my three biggest positions of basketball, the entire all my basketball bets, which I have thousands, is Utah over 24.5 wins. My dislike for that organization is probably the highest of any organization I've seen in my life. I'd go that far. Of course, they play marketing yesterday in a game they can't win. It's like they do it like they just, I can't stand them. Again, Danny Ainge is one of my least favorite players. Now he's still getting me back 20 years after I rooted against him as a player. But I know we've talked about Anthony about the whole tank, but you just really got to know who's trying, who isn't. There's like 12 teams, guys, that are just literally trying to lose every game. Washington, Memphis, Chicago, Sacramento, Utah. It's unbelievable. Indiana. And you really just have to try to use it to your advantage, saying, okay, if a team like is one of those teams is winning at the end of three quarters, man, take off that rubber band. If that game's even, if that team has a chance of blowing it, because their coach is going to do everything they can for them to lose that game because of how deep this draft is.
Yeah, you're right on. My man, listen, we're going to get you tomorrow to be a little bit longer, but we got to talk a little bit of baseball and kind of what's in your head going forward with that. And college basketball has been a blast, man, over the last.
Well, you know, it's funny, Anthony, on Saturday, I bet 7 games, won 6-1. The game I really stepped out on was my alma mater, Michigan. Still think they actually were the better team in that game. I thought they just missed shot after shot after shot. I think they're better. I'm not going to back off that. But in that game, Duke deserved to win.
Dude, they had looks. I remember you liked UConn. UConn
cover. I won 6-1. It was frustrating that day. Kansas lost outright as a big favorite over Cincinnati. At Cincinnati, I had one of the games BYU against Iowa State had BYU getting 3.5, was a 50-50 game, and they're taking 3.5. But the game I really, really like. The game I really liked the most, though, really was Michigan. I really thought they were going to win the game, but they just couldn't hit any shots. The guards struggled, foul trouble in the beginning of the game, which hurt them. But I mean, the Duke's a good team. Wouldn't shock me if we see that rematch in the finals.
Trash man had Duke.
Yeah, you had Duke in that game.
Good call.
I told you on Friday. I thought it was. I think Michigan's a better team. I just thought Duke was going to win.
Wow,
and they did.
Who do you right now? If I had to say to you, your power rankings for the tournament, who would they be?
Duke. I'm sorry, Michigan clearly number 1. Number 2, probably would go Duke. Arizona, I need to know what the injury situation is a little further. I love the way Florida's been playing recently. They would be probably in my top 5 for sure. Illinois, I like, even though they struggled against UCLA, which really did surprise me. But I would say, and I still think UConn. I like UConn quite a bit. They got it back against Villanova. Those probably be my top 6. Houston seems to be struggling right now.
Yeah.
Purdue just not quite good enough defensively. Those would probably be my top 6.
I like it. Bray, good stuff, buddy.
Appreciate
we got our man, a Duke. We have a Duke man here. It's Baldy. He's a big.
You know, it's
Duke
funny. I'm actually I don't even know how I'm wearing this because let me just tell you something. I hate Duke. I despise Duke. I loathe Duke. My kid goes there. You would think that I've softened on it, but she's like, Dad, it really means a lot to me if you wear their shirt. So I put the Duke shirt on once every blue moon. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, what can I say? But who's the Duke guy?
Baldy.
He's a Duke. He didn't go to Duke, did he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never knew that. All the guys like forever playing.
He's a Dookie, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, look,
buddy. We appreciate it, brother.
I appreciate you guys both.
The ambassador of the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app, The Brain. Let's take a quick TO. We'll come back with Baldy.
Hey, let's talk about Ashley Furniture. I love Ashley Furniture. Now's your chance to transform your home for 2026 with great offers on your favorite looks at Ashley's New Year sale. Discover hot buys for every room in your house starting at just $299, and you can ring in the new year with new styles today and pay over time with 60 months special financing on in-store purchases. Don't miss out. Shop the season's must-have looks at Ashley's New Year sale because we just love Ashley Furniture.
Look, you want Jalen Carter out catching passes? No. All right? Come on now. Not worth the risk, the time, the money. Keep your stars focused on doing what they do best. Same goes for your business. You don't want your top people buried in operations, tedious, time-consuming, redundant activities that wear them down. Togo can help any business look to reduce operating costs, from customer service and accounting to order management, logistics, admin, data entry, even complex multi-step operational processes. We take it off your plate. Every Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, they turn your playbook into performance. You call the plays, we execute. HarnessTogo.com. Scale smarter, work faster, stay focused on.
Hey, let's talk about Ashley Furniture. I love Ashley Furniture. Now's your chance to transform your home for 2026 with great offers on your favorite looks at Ashley's New Year sale. Discover hot buys for every room in your house starting at just $299, and you can ring in the new year with new styles today and pay over time with 60 months special financing on in-store purchases. Don't miss out. Shop the season's must-have looks at Ashley's New Year sale because we just love Ashley Furniture.
All right, back from the Bosphorus Strait, the world traveler himself, after meandering through Istanbul and the ancient civilizations. That's right. Baldy on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line.
Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football.
Oh, Baldy. There he is.
Morning, guys.
What's up, Baldy?
And did you have tough reacclimating to the States?
No. Walked right in, if you fly Turkish Air, I had a lamb shank last night on an airplane, Turkish Air. It might have been the best piece of meat I had all year. No, I ate like a king, man. No, I came back like 4 or 5 hours sleep. I'm good to go.
Yeah. It's funny. Anytime you come back after like a European trip, there's always one thing you miss.
Yeah.
What is it that you miss?
I guess just being able to see English. I haven't really read English on any sign in 9 days. Maybe just listening and hearing actually people talk, rather than trying to decipher. Because, part of the fun of traveling to a foreign country is just getting lost in translation. So, a lot of that stuff happens. Like they're not understanding you. You don't understand them. And, things happen. So maybe just hearing English and just being able to read it, know what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. It's funny. What do you miss from Turkey? The coffee?
The coffee's good, but I'll be honest with you. I ate like a king for 9 days and lost weight.
Yeah.
I think, the food in our country just stinks. It just it just does.
Yeah.
Like I ate anything and everything in Turkey, and I lost weight. Now I'm walking 3 hours a day, touring around, all that kind of stuff. I get that, but still, I wasn't in the gym all day or anything like that. And I actually feel better. I don't have any inflammation in my joints whatsoever.
That's the key. That's why they live so long in Europe, because of that.
It's just that you can feel it. You can honestly feel it, because I have one leg that when I'm here in the States, it swells up. It's just age, whatever, but it swells up here all the time. Like it looks like it did when I was in my 30s right now.
Yeah.
I don't have any of it.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to business. You're back into it. We got, if this is combine week.
Can't wait.
What's your schedule?
I'm leaving to go to Indy. I had to adjust some things because of the weather. I was supposed to go back to Philly today, but nobody's getting back to Philly. But I'm just going straight to Indy on Thursday morning. So I'll be there like Thursday night. The linebackers, defensive ends, they all run. So I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's just good. Like, honestly, for example, if you just looked at every year is different. This is a big year for offensive tackles because maybe the Eagles are in a tackle market. Like, you can begin with Caden Proctor, might be a kid that you can get from 20 to 30. Maybe the Eagles are. I like Caden personally myself. But regardless.
Yeah, that part of the draft, there's like 4 to 6 guys that are – it goes, up top, and then but they're big – there's a swell of guys during that part of the draft.
Yeah, there's Marinello from Miami, Spencer Fano, Miller, Proctor, Lomu. I mean, there's a bunch of guys. And every year you try to stack them, between now and the draft, try to figure out, which one could become, who has a chance to be Lane Johnson, whatever. But like last year, the king of the combine was Nick Himenwari, who went to Seattle and was an all-world player. Like, his skills that he showed, whether it was his length, his speed, how high he jumped, all that showed up on film. And it was a big reason why Seattle won a Super Bowl. They've struck gold, just like the Eagles did, with the guys that they've drafted in secondary. Like, they're Devin Witherspoon and Himenwari has been a big part of why they won what they won. So, but I just remember last year being there on a Thursday night and watching Jihad Campbell. And, he was 243 pounds and he ran a 4.52, and just watching him warm up, I go, that guy's he's going to be a first-round pick. I didn't know he was going to fall to the Eagles. Like, I still think he's going to be a great player, even though he split time last year. But I'm just trying to literally use my own eyeballs to just look at some of these guys and see how they move, see how they run, just look for certain traits that transfer to the NFL. So I use it as my own my own way to kind of get ready for this, this draft season.
It's funny when you see a kid. There's nothing that when you see a kid in person.
No.
There's not, and the thing that I always look for, to me, number one is how explosive they are, right? Like, that first burst, that movement will tell me everything. Well, it'll transcend position too.
It's so true, cuz so true. So I did the Senior Bowl one year, announced it for TNT, right? And so I remember going down to Senior Bowl practice. It was either 2000 or 2001, I forget which year. And LaDainian Tomlinson is like the star of that, that draft. And I remember I was walking down with one of these agents that was, had like top, 3 or 4 of the top 10 players. So we're walking down to practice. And the first time I ever saw LaDainian Tomlinson run with the football, I said, he just looked different. You just, like, exactly what you're describing. Like, his movement and cutting at 220 pounds, on a stocky frame. It just no, I didn't know it was going to transfer into a first ballot Hall of Fame career, but you knew he was going to be different. You knew Bijan was going to be different, and so it's just, you're right. Like, that explosive step, your eyes, you don't need a stopwatch. You don't need a short settle time. Your eyes are not going to deceive you.
Yeah. And that same thing. And, even a lineman, like, you could see that, like, how you get out of your stance, what your first initial move is, how quick, because everything else can be taught, right? But it's that initial burst that you just.
Well, that's that burst that you're talking about, like, for a tackle, offensive or defensive, is what we call fast twitch. Lane, it's remarkable, just Lane, because I can show you his rookie film. He's 13 years later, he's a much better player than when he was a rookie. But the one thing that's consistent is his get off. His start and get off, fourth quarter, week 18, Super Bowl, first week of the season, it is as consistent as anybody's ever played a game.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. It really is. Hey, one of the things before we get into the more prospect stuff, the combine is a convention, right? It's the first time in the NFL new year, right? The new league year where you have GMs, agents, and scouts.
A lot of deals. A lot of the what you're describing here, Cuz, is a lot of the parameters for deals get started at the combine. Everybody's there. The general managers, the movers, the shakers, the money, they're there. And some of the parameters that end up happening get worked out and started during these next 4 or 5 days.
So you read my mind. And Howie yesterday, they spoke. Howie and Nick spoke yesterday. Howie said, reiterated that they're not interested in trading, AJ, but they listen. And to me, I think we all know where this thing is headed.
Yeah. It feels like a divorce. It just does, Cuz. From the day that we saw him reading a book on the bench, it just felt like that was all you needed. This thing is not working out. And it's not about who's calling plays and it's just sometimes and I'm not saying this about AJ in a negative way, but sometimes it's addition by subtraction. It just is. You got a new guy in there, a young guy. You've got Devontae, he's a world-class player. You've got Jahan, you've got guys. But we know AJ is still a top flight player, but maybe he just needs to go someplace else. I feel like that. Now, and that's not with knowing anything. I'm not over at Novacare talking to these people. I hear things like you hear things, like we all hear things. But I'm not digging to try to find stuff out because I don't really care. But I do feel like that it's going to be inevitable. They went to back-to-back Super Bowls with them. They won a Super Bowl with them. They've had a great run. And in addition to having, Saquon, a world-class offensive line, a proven leader at quarterback, an organization knows how to build, all those things have to take place too. But I feel like you can get receivers. This is a great draft for receivers. You go through the list of them, there's 3 in the top 10 right now.
Tyson, the kid Tyson's I like Tyson a lot.
Jordan Tyson, Arizona State, Mekhi Lemon, USC, the kid from Ohio State, Tate, but you can find receivers. You just can, and I don't know.
And I love Sadiq as a tight end, but
okay.
You had a weapon like Sadiq,
Okay, all right. Look, there's options at receiver. There's different ways. Seattle had, they have Jackson Smith and Jigma. They've got a pure number 1. They got Cooper Kupp off a trash heap. All right, he's broken down. He's not the same guy. They traded for Rashid Shaheed. They've got a 4th-round pick at tight end. They won a Super Bowl with a quarterback that nobody said he could ever do it. So there's a lot of ways to win in this business. It isn't just star power. You need a real team. You need a collection of a team. And the one thing, I said this to you week 17 when I was on the field before a Seattle-Carolina game. I was like, you could just feel the chemistry of that team. You could just feel it.
You did.
It was real. But you could say that. You could definitely say that, Cuz, about the first Super Bowl winning team in Minnesota that day. You could feel that was a real team. Whether it was Chris Long, Lane, Nick, whatever it was. They just had the chemistry that was necessary to take down Brady and the Patriots.
Yeah, that's a great point. I want to read you a quote. This is from Sirianni yesterday. And it starts with AJ, but it kind of gives you a window into how he's feeling. And this is key.
Okay.
With AJ, will AJ be here next season? I think we're still in the spot. I can't guarantee how anything's going to play out into next season. I'm thinking I'm going to be the coach next season, but you can't guarantee anything past tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, it's, the adjunct to the initial statement is just, but you know what? Anybody could be gone tomorrow. He's basically saying, this thing has a real chance to happen. If he knew that A.J. Brown was going to be here because he wanted A.J., and if he had that kind of power, to be able to pick and choose players, which is in a little bit of question, then he just comes out and said, AJ's going to be here as long as I'm here. That's all you got to say. And it just shuts it all down. But you say what he just said, you can just add that second part on to oops, maybe I went too far.
I know. And I think it gives you a window into his own existence, which is, hey, if I don't turn this thing around next year, I'm probably not going to be coaching.
Look, I mean, Doug Peterson wins the first ever Super Bowl. How many years later was he gone? 2 years later?
Yeah.
Like, this stuff is short term. It's
Yeah.
short term rentals. Like, if
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. Like, Mike McDonald took over for a legendary coach in Pete Carroll. Legendary. All right? 2 years later, they're winning a Super Bowl. Like, you just need the right chemistry in this league right now. The league is not invincible. It isn't. The Rams have as much talent as anybody. They didn't win it. Like, it's about the right chemistry. And that's coach, quarterback, receivers. The chemistry is still the ultimate team game. And so you just need somebody that can actually guide you and create the chemistry. Some of that is GM, some of that is coach, some of that is veteran players and leadership. But you just need the right chemistry, and that's the biggest part. And so coaches can come and go in this business.
So do you foresee, we saw a huge sea change. You brought up Pete Carroll a couple years ago. This past offseason, we saw Tomlin and Harbaugh, right? Two long mainstays. Do you see another decade-long coach that stays on one team? It feels like we're getting into a different time. Now, McVay obviously has the chance. Shanahan has a chance, although people think McVay will be more short-term like Madden than some long 15-year head coach.
Well, after they won a Super Bowl 4 years ago, he was already questioning whether he was going to even continue. He was just, I think, getting married. He's got young kids right now. Like, all that was sort of in doubt. And it was like, okay, if the quarterback comes back, even Stafford was a little bit questioned after they won the Super Bowl. I remember all the questions. And then, they said, well, we're going to run it back, and then they came back. But it's hard to say, Andy Reid is, special. The special coaches have that chance. Shanahan hasn't won a Super Bowl, but he's sort of tied to the general manager and John Lynch. We'll see. I don't really know. But could a coach have a 17, 18, 19-year run in them? Yeah, you can still see that. But you can also see, like, even hiring Mike McCarthy seemed a little bit out of left field. I know he's from Pittsburgh, Greenfield, going back there. Like, I see it a little bit. And it was sort of a departure from what the Steelers had done in the past. But you could just see, like, the emphasis on going young at that position, at that coaching job. Like, just, these guys are in their 30s that are getting jobs now, and like Madden was, like Gruden was. Like, I think the push to just get younger, to maybe be more connected to the players, the type of players. Like, I see that. You just saw where Kingsbury just got the assistant head coaching job with the Rams, just in case something happens. They want to be in position where they have a guy that has done it, that, still got youth on his side, whatever, but is an innovative mind. But I think everybody is always looking for the next Madden, the next McVay, the next Andy Reid. Like, they're looking for that type of guy.
Yeah, I like the Kingsbury move. I thought that was I was smart on him too. Like, the Rams have become the new Patriots, where you go or in college, Ohio State. Like, you see these Alabama, Saban used to have those guys come in as OC.
It's smart, cuz it's smart. First of all, everybody's staff is so bloated to begin with. Okay, like, and when I started this business, not that it's a different era, but we had 7 coaches in Dallas.
Yeah,
and if you count the strength coach, we had 8. Okay, we had 8 coaches. Like, every staff is between 25 and 30. But if you're going to pay all these coaches, why not pay? Like, look, I'm partial to Cliff. I've known him a long, long time. I've been in those rooms with him at Texas Tech and Lubbock, and I've seen, it's like a beautiful mind, right? Like, you've got all these formulas on the board, and like, you go in there and he's got 8 new concepts drawn up, depending on who's the quarterback, who's healthy, whatever. Like, why wouldn't you have creative input to any offense? And it might not be every week. It might not, but you never know when it's going to, like, the right concept is going to take hold with what you have. Cliff's a creative guy, and he's a quarterback, and he's been a head coach, and at college, and he coached a ton of great college quarterbacks and became good NFL quarterbacks. Like, he's got a great track record.
Yeah, he does. It's the truth. All right, back close to home. One of the things that is really interesting to me is this Mannion, like this mismatch of coaches, right? Like, you got Mannion, and you have Grizzard, and those two are connected. And Mannion brings his guys over from Green Bay for the new O-line coach, the run game coordinator. Like, and then yesterday, Sirianni's talking about, well, I really loved Mannion's thoughts in the run game. And this whole offense is going to be one of the most fascinating stories out there, Baldy.
I agree. And first of all, you don't know if it's going to work or not work. Okay. Like, nobody knows. Okay. But generally, even if it does work, it usually takes time. It usually doesn't start right away. If you look at Mike McDonald's track record, when he went to Baltimore, they were not good the first 8 weeks of the season. And then it kicked in. And even in Seattle, they struggled at times. They gave up, 400 yards passing to Stafford. They struggled at times. Right? They lost to the Rams. They lost to the 49ers. It wasn't a finished product right away. I'm just using him as one example. It usually takes time for new ideas and concepts to work its way through, in large part because of the restrictions in how you can coach. Like, it might be new blocking techniques that they're going to teach to Landon and to Lane and to the group up front. All right, that might take a little bit of time. It could be just the way the plays are called. Maybe I don't think it's going to be Chip Kelly, one word, and it tells everybody what to do. But a lot of these things can get wordy, and you got to tag things, and the communication and how the plays come in. Like, this generally takes a little bit of time, and you need the month of August and September to kind of work through some things. So even if it works, I don't think it's going to happen right away. Saquon ran for 2,000 yards. The Eagles won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they struggled like hell during the season that year until they didn't struggle.
That's the truth, man.
Do you see this as a transition year for the Eagles, kind of, without Stoutland, with the young coordinator, with no play calling experience, with A.J. maybe not being here?
I don't know, because I don't know if it's going to be as much a transition year just because the division isn't very strong. Now, is Harbaugh going to help the Giants? He should. Can Washington bounce back with a healthy Jaden? Yes. Can Dallas be better with Christian Parker, defensive coordinator? They can't be any worse. Like, they were awful. So, there's things there where I think the Eagles are still the class of the division. And, which means, like, at the very least, you go, there's 10 wins on this team. And could there be 12, 13? Yeah, there can be. But so I don't know if it's the type of transition year where you take you're 8 and 9 while you try to figure things out. I don't see that happening.
Spycheck, who's the GM of the Raiders, just told reporters, according to Adam Schefter, that he expects Crosby to remain with the Raiders, which is something you got to say.
Yeah, you have to say that until, the Raiders are a mess and Max is their best player and has been. But if somebody wants to blow them out of the water with 2 first-round picks, I mean, they were awful with Max, all right? Like, why wouldn't you think about 2 first-round picks in a draft where there's a lot of good edge players? Some are scheduled, and Ruben Bain here at Miami is going to be a top 10. Why wouldn't you try to get the quarterback, edge rusher, with some draft picks and draft capital that you have?
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point. Great point about that. So give me the guys that you're looking forward to watching, Baldy.
Well, Mendoza's not going to throw, so we're not going to see him. But I do want to see David Bailey. David Bailey, I met him this year at Texas Tech, did a Texas Tech BYU game, met the kid. He's legit. He's a legit edge prospect. Daniel Jeremiah, I think, has him as the number 3 prospect. But let's just see, because he doesn't look, he barely looks 250 to me. Now,
yeah,
that doesn't mean anything, but he doesn't look like he can just hold up outside. Let's see what he weighs, let's see how he runs. Is Arvell Reese, at Ohio State, is he going to be an edge rusher like Micah became an edge rusher? or is he an off-the-ball inside linebacker? You got to kind of figure out the position. I love Caleb Downs at Ohio State. Is he just going to be one of these multiple chess piece safeties that you can do things like Kyle Hamilton can do, or Minka Fitzpatrick has done, or what Nick Imanwari has done and is doing? Like, I'm interested in that. I'm interested in this kid Cassius Howell from Texas A&M. Like, I
love that kid.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, some of these guys, they're going to be in the first round. So I kind of want to watch some of these kids.
It's funny, you led with Bailey, and I mean, you see some games where he was just dominant, Baldy, like dominant. But he did have a big high-low disparity, like where you could see it. He's good. There's some interesting prospects. I mean, it's the draft, so it always is. But I watch a lot of those kids.
Yeah, I mean, the problem and the reason why almost all these kids are projections, even Jeremiah Love, especially after what we saw last year at the running back position. Even like first of all, you got to take all the statistics and throw it away, because if Jeremiah Love runs for a 60-yard touchdown run, he's got 60 yards in the book on that day, and he's averaging 7 yards a carry. But, if they make the tackle at the 5 yards down the field, it's a 5-yard run and not a 60-yard. So you have to be a little cautious about some of these statistics. Like even David Bailey. Like, I watched him against BYU's right tackle. He's not very good. He's a big Samoan kid, Polynesian kid, but he's not very good.
He's slow. He was slow, that kid.
So, like, how many slow right tackles is he going to see? You know what I mean? Like, so, but, like we saw we saw Abdul Carter struggle like hell this year. But he did get better as the season went on. But he did struggle, where he really wasn't a factor from many of the games. But, like, he didn't do anything against Lane Johnson. He didn't really do anything, against Malata. Against elite players, he didn't look very good. Mm-hmm. Now, I think he still has good skills, and I think he'd still be a really good player. But I see the same thing from a lot of guys. Like, you have to – Brian Burns has had years where he wasn't great. He was fantastic this year. But the same talent that he had coming out of Florida State is the same talent. Like, the talent doesn't change. Like, he's a great kid, and he's a great team player, and he had his best season. And that was, 6 or 7 years into this whole thing. I remember when all my buddies were over at the Eagles, Joe Douglas and Andy Weidel, they loved Brian Burns. They thought Howie was going to draft him. They thought that was going to be Howie's guy. Now, who knows? But all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really matter now. But, they had an eye on him. They knew. And now he got, he's got Thibodeau and Abdul Carter, and now he explodes and has his best season ever this year.
It's funny you brought up Love. I like Love. Now, I forget stats. I don't look at the stats, right? I'm with you. Like, college stats are the most meaningless because especially like Notre Dame, because, last year they probably had about 8 of their opponents that they were completely superior and that led to huge plays.
Right.
But here's what I like about it. And this is why I think there's value. And I think people are scared off because of Genti. But he goes to a team with a decent O-line. He's fat, he's quick. So he's really quick. He catches the ball out of the backfield, and he's got some power to him. Like, he's a really good back, man. I think he's a weapon. I think in the right spot, he goes and he's a stud next year.
The Super Bowl MVP is a running back. You just, say the Eagles don't win a Super Bowl without Saquon. The running back position, like, you can't undervalue it in the draft. Can Atlanta, we're big Kevin Stefanski fans. Could Atlanta with Bijan win a Super Bowl? Like, I think they're capable of doing it. They've been building talent on the defensive side of the ball. They got 2 great edge rushers. They got safeties now. They've got a chance with a great draft and free agency to make a big jump. They just do. In a division that isn't dominant by any team. But that's Bijan. Bijan gives you a chance every single week because, A, he's a great kid. Like, Saquon's a great kid. And I think this Jeremiah Love is a great kid. And I think I talked to Ashton Genti at Super Bowl this year. And I said, bro, man, I just want to see you with a great offensive line. I just want to see Ashton where he's not trying to defeat his own right guard as he takes the handoff. I just give him a chance.
Here is the schedule.
Yeah.
This is your schedule for the week. Let's take a look at it. For the combine, Baldy will be anchoring a lot of coverage from the combine, but there you see it. Saturday's always the day for the quarterbacks. You got your wide receivers and running backs, all your skill guys. Thursday, of course, the linemen, the linebackers. Friday, the D-backs and tight ends. And then Sunday is your old linemen. That's your schedule for the combine. Always fun, man.
I love how it starts, honestly, though, because those positions right there, that defensive line, linebackers, I know the linebackers are undervalued to a degree, but it's interesting what they're going to try to figure out about Arvell Reese and what position he's going to play. But I remember watching James Pierce last year, and everybody said weird things about him. Like, this guy's not coachable. Like, I don't know about – like, I don't do that type of homework. I let all those guys do all the
Yeah, you're the football guy, which I love.
The guy is a rookie now on a bad team had double-digit sacks. Like, the guy, like, you can't coach 6'5", 255 and runs in in the high 4.4s. Like, that is legit skills. You put that with other like, he's going to be a and everybody ripped the Falcons for giving up a first-round pick to get him. But what if he's a foundational piece to a team that does win the division and competes next year? Like, you don't know how this is going to play out. But I love watching those kids run, the size. Are they stiff? Can they bend? Like, all these kind of things that we're all looking at. Are they fast twitch? Like, there's just so many things that you can actually glean without seeing how high they jump or whatever else. I mean, there's just certain things that do transfer from that Friday or Thursday night to the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm fired up. Let's go.
Yeah,
Football's back.
Yeah.
Football's back.
But, the league just doesn't make any mistakes. Putting this combine on TV, we're all watching. Like, it is like you could put this on against, I don't know, the Celtics and the Knicks, and people are going to watch the combine.
Yeah.
Like, you could put it on whatever, pick one sport, spring training, whatever it is. Like, people are going to watch. They're going to watch, and they're all going to, like, the number of at-home general managers in their war room, like, they're all doing their work. Like, God bless them, whether they're good, value, whatever. Like, everybody thinks they got an eye to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no Stoutland, so Sunday I got to watch all day with the offensive lineman. I got to see what's going on. I'll tag the Eagles in some social media posts.
No
My guys.
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is the draft. Okay, Lane's coming back. Landon's coming back. But this is the year you go and draft one of their replacements. Like, is it? Like, it could be. Like, it would be an Eagle move if it's the right guy, with a new staff, new way of training things, It's
going to be interesting, though. You need 2 O-linemen, you need 2 tight ends, and you need 2 receivers.
If AJ's gone.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you guys
That's just on offense, but could you imagine if the Eagles drafted Caleb Downs?
Oh.
Like, you just added that guy to what they have with Quinion. It would be like the new Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
This kid's a great player. Great player. And
I would lead into it. Like, I know people think I'm nuts, but I have such a strong core defensively. Why not make that side of the ball just unstoppable? Like, that's kind of how I would look at it.
You think, okay, just think about this. Seattle wins the Super Bowl. All right. The 49ers played Seattle in two games, at the last game of the season in the playoffs. And in 2 games, Kyle Shanahan's team, with a $50 million quarterback, couldn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
They couldn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, you need offense, you need a quarterback, got to score points. But defense is what's winning these championships. Like, load up. You go get star players and have, like, I don't know. I was lucky. I got to play with Reggie and the guys in Philly. Like, I know how Philly thinks. We all do. Like, you put star players on defense, these people like go nuts.
It's the greatest. Oh, brother, listen. Safe journey to Indy. We'll talk to you Friday morning.
By the way, what's it doing out there today? Is it stopped
Sunny.
snowing?
No, it's sunny and cold. So all the blizzard that we got is now frozen back. We just got rid of it. Saturday, I saw grass for the first time.
Okay,
and now it's back to frozen snow.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm not even going home, man. I got a busted pipe. I got a
dude, don't even listen. It's miserable here.
I just want to see it.
Absolutely miserable.
Yeah, I don't even want to go see it.
Yeah.
Let me go.
Indianapolis will feel like the Bahamas.
I want to go to Indy and watch football. I could care less about my home. We'll let the insurance handle it.
You got a first meal when you go to Indy? Is there one place you go to as soon as you get there?
Yeah, like I don't know. You can't go wrong by just going to the steakhouse.
St. Elmo's.
St. Elmo's. Like everybody will be there, having some some hot
that shrimp cocktail.
Shrimp cocktail. Like
I love that.
It clears your nose right out. If you got any kind of a cold or anything, it just clears it right up, man. You're breathing like it's you're on top of Mount Everest.
Yeah, it's good. All right, my brother. Be safe. We'll talk to you Friday morning as always.
Right. Let's do it, cuz. See you guys. Amen.
There he is. Baldy checking in on the combine. It's going to be an interesting week, man. Birds. Fascinating stuff.
It's all weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got D-bags, wide receivers.
Well, quarterbacks on Saturday. I love quarterbacks. Love quarterbacks.
Yeah. They don't interest
me. I like just to watch them throw, do the drills.
Yeah, well, you want to know what drills to get Moss doing. You got to
see
what the guys are doing.
That's right.
Yeah, I understand.
He's slacking.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we got baseball and hoops.
The doldrums of February, man.
There's baseball and hoops. I got to get him out throwing, man.
Yeah.
Got to get him out throwing. All right, coming up, Murphy Monday. We talked to our man, the Murph. But first, let's take care of some business. Let's talk about Parks Casino, shall we? Yeah! Parks Casino, a great place for a night of headline entertainment, award-winning dining. You're talking date night, guys' night out, girls' night out. How about this? Parks Casino. Here's what's happening. July 24th, the Gene Simmons Band. May 16th, the Dice Man. Andrew Dice Clay. Jack and Jill went up the hill. You got All McCartney Live, a tribute to Paul McCartney on June 12th. Tickets still available for these headliners. March 14th, Tracy Morgan. How about Cheap Trick on April 3rd? Grammy winner Melissa Etheridge, April 18th. The Wallflowers on May 14th. Grand Funk Railroad, November 13th. All there, parkscasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. What a night out. Going to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hello, my 4for4 brothers and sisters. You're looking for something truly unforgettable this year? I got a great idea. Check out the incredible work from Philadelphia sports artist Jordan Spector over at SpectorSportsArt.com. Now, I own one of Jordan's pieces myself. Trust me, these aren't just posters you hang on the wall. Museum-level artworks of the greatest moments and icons in Philadelphia sports history. His collections come in prints, canvases, even athlete-partnered trading cards. And get this, one of the newest cards actually includes a piece of BG's real game-worn jersey from, that matchup in New Orleans. Remember that against the Chief? It doesn't get better than that. You got a diehard sports fan in your life, or if you just want to treat yourself, this is the kind of gift they'll talk about forever. So head on over to SpectorSportsArt.com. That's SpectorSportsArt.com and grab something epic for the Philly fan in your life.
All right.
Hey, real quick, should we, since we're talking combine, let's shout out the Die Hard sale we got going on so you can get access to Franny's draft stuff. So when you're watching these guys go through their drills, you can look them up and get the inside skinny to Fran Duffy way. So it's $36 for the year. Die Hard membership, can't beat it. Cheapest thing in town. It's the most informative thing you'll get for that money. Get a free t-shirt. So what are you doing? Become the smartest football fan in your friend group because you'll know all the draft guys.
Dude, it's a great idea, man. You're right. You got Franny's stuff is great. Your thumbnails, the thumbnails are awesome. Like the level that he goes to cover this thing is the best.
So you're like, this guy looks good. Let's check out what Franny says about him. Look it up.
Yeah, it's great. Great stuff. Speaking of great stuff, joining us, one of the great columnists in town on a Murphy Monday, our man David Murphy on the Xfinity Mobile calling line.
Murphy, it's time for our man, David Murphy.
Good morning, Murph.
Morning. How you guys doing?
When you head to spring training?
It's still TBD. Sometime within the next couple of weeks.
I hope so.
Trying to figure out a good spot.
You're looking at because you have the World Baseball Classic, which I can't wait for. Do you like that?
I am. It's kind of a nothing burger for me. I mean, I like
surprise.
I mean, I like. I mean, it's just tough to get worked up for it when the pitchers aren't stretched out. You know, I mean, what are we really accomplishing? Although I will say the non-US games are usually pretty fun to watch because those guys take it pretty seriously. But I mean, I don't know. Do you guys really get into it?
I like it, but here's what I would do. I would do it in the middle of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's better as a tournament, middle of the year, where it's a break from the mundane and you're going to go play countries. I think it's good. Because I love it. I love that sort of thing. Either that, because I agree with you, guys aren't stretched out. I don't know how else you do it unless you're going to do it over the winter in Latin America.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is it's hard to do. It's hard to pull off, especially in baseball where the pitcher's arms are worth so much and are also so fragile. I mean, you're seeing it. Some of these guys that can't get insurance, which is really just. I think it's just another way of saying the team has told me not to play because my guaranteed contract is on the line. I mean, what are you going to do? These guys only have so many bullets in these arms, and other than just doing all hitters against a pitching machine or something, I'm not sure what you do. I mean, really, the NHL, part of it because of the culture, but these Olympics, we'd all love to see that in every sport, that kind of that energy and that atmosphere, just kind of the want to that you saw out of these guys. But it's just, to go from that to the World Baseball Classic, it's hard to, you kind of have to fool yourself into thinking that these guys, nobody's coming off the field and going back to Clearwater with broken teeth,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's a good play off of Jack Hughes. It was so awesome, man. It was like that Olympic hockey was so great. And I think baseball can achieve that. But it's got to be done, to your point, during the right period of time. There's got to be a thirst for it. There's got to be a build up to it.
I'm with you. And I think that, if you've ever seen, I've never had the chance to go to one of these games, but have you ever watched the Caribbean World Series?
I covered it one year when I was in New York. Dude, I never saw anything like it. It was awesome. That's the first time. What's the soccer noise instrument?
The vuvuzela?
Yes. That was the first time I ever heard it, was at a Caribbean World Series game. And it was so energetic. It was like, wow, there was dancing. Like the place was wild.
Yeah.
It was actually I had a great time.
Yeah, it'd be great to see, It's just, believe me, I've sat down before and tried to figure out a way, some sort of setup where they'd be able to pull it off. I just can't see it other than, again, it all comes. The thing with baseball, it's always been that way where so many problems could be solved if they just cut down the regular season schedule. But they're just not going to do that. I mean, you could, if you went to 145 games one year and had a month long kind of tournament, you could do it, but the owners are just never going to do it.
Let me ask
I
you
was
this.
excited for the World Baseball Classic. Thanks, Murph.
I mean, look, guys, I wish I had your guys' ability to self-delude yourselves, but it's hard. It's hard. I stopped believing in Santa Claus at like 2 years old. So
I believe it.
Yeah, you got that gene, that curmudgeon newspaper gene.
Dude,
Like,
look, when you see the stuff that I've seen in my lifetime, you just you develop a certain crust. Yeah.
Murph's like 2 years old with a cigar. Like, I'm not talking to Santa. I'm
What are you talking about?
I'm talking
That
to you,
stuff?
Pop. Like, I want a bike.
Let's get back to the Phillies and the quest for power. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you were on the beat. You saw this thing play out. How come they can't develop legitimate right-handed power?
It's a great question. And I don't know. I mean, they had it in 2022 in Rhys Hoskins. I mean, you don't need a guy who you don't need Mookie Betts or Aaron Judge. You just need Teoscar Hernandez or Rhys Hoskins. And the fact that they haven't been able to find that guy. Look, I mean, honestly, the easiest answer and probably the most accurate is that they've got their two highest paid players, and their two best players are first base and designated hitter. And those are the two positions where you find power, and power at value. I mean, look, Pete Alonso, signed with the Mets last year for what, 1 year and $30 million. Now, again, you would think they would be able to find a right-handed hitting corner outfielder who could at least, give you, what Pat Burrell gave you back in the day, in some of his lesser seasons, but it's been the one big mark of shame on Dave Dombrowski. I mean, he tried with Merrifield, Austin Hayes, he just got it wrong. And these guys are out there. I mean, if Ramon Laureano signed last year for 1 year and $4 million, with the Orioles, and had exactly the kind of season that they need out of a guy. Just one of these guys that can come in and have one of those years for you. A couple of years ago, I forget his name now all of a sudden, but Randall Grichuk. He was always a guy of mine. When they signed Merrifield a couple of years ago, the Diamondbacks signed Grichuk for $2 million, and he ended up hitting 20 homers for them, or at least a 20 homer pace for them.
Grichuk was legit. I wanted Laureano. VG's my witness there. I wanted him. There are guys out there at the time. Ozuna, remember talking about, like,
yep.
They have failed in getting that bat. But the thing that's so concerning is they can't develop. Like, where's the outfield that like those prospects that are middle of the order prospects?
Well, I mean, they haven't had much. I mean, Aidan Miller's, and I wrote this week. I mean, Aidan Miller's kind of the guy. Kingery, I guess, was the other guy that you could point to as them at least having a prospect. But they really haven't even had the prospects.
Well, that's my point. They haven't developed an outfielder that's a middle of the order outfielder.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's almost inexcusable for an organization with the resources that they have, and one that has essentially been in a building mode or a development mindset mode, since 2013. It's amazing that they haven't found one guy really. And look, hopefully Miller is it. But I'm with you. I don't know what the answer is, and that's why I always tell people, when they ask what you think of Dombrowski, we're going to have to wait and see 2 or 3 years from now and see if this minor league system turns around or not, because that's, the fact that they are where they are, 4 straight seasons of improving win totals and three or four playoff appearances, World Series, NLCS. The fact that they've done all that almost exclusively through the trade and free agent market is you got to count your blessings, because teams just don't do that a whole lot. It's hard to do.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. All right, switching gears a little bit. Let's go to birds, because it's Combine Week, and we just got done talking to Baldy about it. But it appears that A.J., something probably is going to happen with A.J. I mean, you heard all the guys talk yesterday, and you read between the lines. And then the Sirianni thing's fascinating, because he's talking about, hey, like, I don't know. I can't tell you who's going to be here tomorrow. I don't even know if I'm going to be coaching here tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Sirianni just says goofy things sometimes, but it's true though. I mean, I think as a coach, you're just kind of ingrained with that mindset. I think tomorrow is pretty assured for him. And I think this season is pretty assured for him. But look,
well, this season is, but he's talking about, I take tomorrow as being next season.
Yeah, I think
who knows?
I think organization wide, I think it's very obvious that is everybody's mindset right now. Where look, they got to show some improvement this season, or else there's going to be a change. I don't think there's any two ways about it. Doug got the year-long grace period after he won the Super Bowl, and then he was out within 2 years, right? 2 or 3 years. That's just how it is. That's how it is in this game. And it's not hair trigger. It's given the way they've regressed. This offense was even now I look back and for a long time this season I said part of the problem with this offense is that we're comparing them to what was a historically good offense last year, at least in the running game. But now you look at it and it's like, no, they were just bad. Look at the numbers; they're awful. And I frankly, I don't know what they're going to do, because they have besides Devontae Smith, they have Darius Cooper under contract. That's it. That's all they have. Johnny Wilson, I guess, if you think he's going to come off the injured list and have his breakout season out of the 6th round, but
there's nobody on there that you go, even Cooper. I go, there's nobody on there that you think is going to make a true ascent and becoming a 1 or 2.
And things that they don't even ever play, which is why the AJ stuff, and that's where it ties into it, is I've said it. I'm like, look, he's got to go at this point, because we're the toothpaste is well out of the tube. It's just got to be washed down the sink. It can't go back in. And whatever you think, it's just how it is. Like, it's tough to bring a guy back after once the wheels start moving like they are. But they better have a plan, And everyone says, well, draft a guy. Like, you have no idea who's going to be on the board even. You can't sit here and plan your 2026 roster based on the draft. Now, look, Shermy Bernard, that's my guy. He's my Luther Burden of this year. And I think he's
good player.
I think he could be a better Deebo Samuel. And Deebo Samuel had 1,500 scrimmage yards as a rookie, and I think they went to the Super Bowl that year, actually. But you can't count on it. You have no idea if he's even going to be there. Guy might run a 4.9 at the combine, or he might run a 4.2 at the combine and go top 15. I don't know what they're going to do. The tight end position is bigger than anything. I think they don't even have replacement level guys.
No.
And it's tough to subtract from the roster. Regardless of who it is, but especially when it's AJ Brown.
Nah, you're dead on. We're in OT. Overtime. That snuck up on us. Overtime in this city. That's right. You're watching on any of our streaming services like Xfinity or Hulu, any of them, right? Roku. let us know. And you go to YouTube and follow us. We love it.
Howie's quotes were interesting on the tight end, where he said that that was on him. He's got an affinity for a certain skill set, the receiving. Maybe he's got to rethink that. I thought that was an interesting insight into Howie.
I think he definitely does. I think that more than anything, we're going to look back, and that's the biggest kind of paradigm shift that we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years is, and it really fits with what's going on across sports, the NBA in particular, but two-way guys, like the blocking is just as important as the receiving, and look at how many times they went heavy this year, with Fred Johnson before Lane Johnson got hurt. They did that because they didn't have, teams with tight ends that can block, don't have to do that necessarily. And they do have a guy then that can catch the ball and run a route. And I think the Rams, you'll never go wrong kind of patterning yourself or looking at what Sean McVay is doing. And, the 49ers and the Rams, you can argue that tight end position has been as big a factor in their success over the last few seasons as they have. Both teams have 3 tight ends that would probably, all start for the Eagles, in Farrell, Tongas, and Kittle, obviously. And then, the Rams probably have 4 of them: Higbee, Ferguson,
He ran 5 out in one play last year.
Yeah, Parkinson. They're Davis Allen. So it's a tough position to rebuild on the fly too, and I haven't looked too deeply into the guys that are out there this year, but there don't, I know there's some depth in the second and third round, but it looks like a lot of pass catchers first, and
well, Sadiq can block too. Sadiq is a legitimate weapon who could seal an edge. I think where they really were hurt is Goddard was a plus blocker, and he lost a little bit, right? So, and then where they were really hurt was Calcaterra is an awful blocker, always has been a bad blocker, and that's a big you need your number 2 tight end, because if you're going to go into 12, somebody's got to be a really good blocker.
Yeah, and look, Austin Hooper, once a game would have a big catch for the Patriots. Same thing with Josh Oliver in Minnesota. You can have a Hunter Henry and TJ Hawkinson was a halfway decent blocker before he got hurt, I think. But you can have a catch first.
Yeah, you
can have a catch first tight end if you've got a number 2 who can do both equally as well. And that's. The Eagles don't have anybody, so we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what their plan is, and I think that's where it all ties back into Nick Sirianni, because I'm sure he's looking at the depth chart even closer than we are, and awfully hard to prepare for a season when you don't have any players, and I would be fascinated to know what those conversations are, to be honest with you. Is Darius Cooper going to have a package? I know he did this year. It didn't exactly go well for them. But how do you even plan before?
It's wild because you're right. Who's going to be doing what? Having Mannion and a whole bunch of new coaches, it's going to be fascinating, that side of the ball.
Well, I think you could say so you could say, well, look at. Because my thing is, when you look at the Eagles are abnormally concentrated in their past, have been abnormally concentrated in their past distribution. There's a very narrow diffusion of targets, And when you look at other teams that kind of have, the Rams with Devontae and Puka, obviously the Cowboys with Pickens and Lamb, they all still had guys like Flournoy. Flournoy was awesome. And
there was a couple of games where Pickens went down. He had the concussion in one game, or Lamb had a concussion one game too, and Flournoy came in and was terrific. Speed, length. He got good length. He could run.
But then, so then you look like you could say, okay, the Seahawks, you know, JSN's the only guy on that team that I mean, he had like a 35% target share all his own. But if you look around him, all those guys are at least replacement level or like above replacement level. I mean, the two tight ends, Arroyo and Barner, you know, and then they have skills, but even they were scrambling at the trade deadline, trading for Shaheed, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's like I'm curious to see what they're going to do because I'm with you. I think you said before, Ant, like why couldn't Devontae Smith be run it you know, Jackson Smith and Jigba package? Now the answer is if you look at you know, Sam Darnold, his spray chart versus Jalen Hurts's, you know, you can run all the in-breaking routes if you want, all the timing routes that you want. The quarterback's got to be able to throw them. But even accepting that, you know, they're going to have to build out. You know, they're going to have to build this thing out, and I think I'm sure Nick is hesitant because I think probably a lot of people in that organization are looking at this year and saying, "Wow, you know, this might be a gap year for us," you know, or it might all be on the defense.
Yeah. All right, last thing. How do we approach the winter teams?
In terms
as winter turns into spring, right? We had a long discussion this morning about Flyers and patience, and the Flyer fans are not feeling that.
Nor should I mean, how long do you want patience to last?
Well, no, I hear you. I just separated by regime, and I can't. Like, what else do you do? Like, I mean, you got nowhere else to go, right?
Yeah.
And then the Sixers, you look at this thing, and you go, well, what are we doing here? Because it feels like it was funny. VG asked the question, and I don't know, but who's in a better spot? It was a great question, VG. Who's a better spot, the Flyers or Sixers?
I mean, I think the Sixers are just because, I mean, numbers wise, it's a lot easier to build out an NBA roster than it is. And I mean, NHL roster, you need what, 11 guys that you know are equally capable, at least. You know, NBA, they've got their two guys. You know, I mean, Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. You know, I think what we've seen this year. Now, keep in mind, VJ's a rookie. Like rookies just don't do what he's doing. You know, and the fact that they're even competitive, you know, at times with Joel Embiid off the court, the fact that they can beat the Blazers, or I'm sorry, beat the Timberwolves, the way they did the other night, you know, that's only going to get better, you know, and I think
I think you got to, but I think if you got to look at it honestly, like in that game, there was no Gobert, there was no Naz Reid, and you know, like
no, but I think I'm looking.
I love those two to get to your point. I love Maxey and VJ.
Well,
I think it. I'm looking at.
The Flyers don't have anyone comparable. The Flyers don't have, I mean, Michkov.
Who do they have? Who do the Flyers even have? I think the Sixers are, you know, I don't know. I think the Sixers, you can build it. Now I'm interested to see how they do it. I mean, Jared McCain certainly, you know, isn't giving us much reason to keep giving Morey the benefit of the doubt on that one. I mean, he's been, it's still hard for me to understand why they decided to go that route, because, you know, I think what you want to do is I would always try to pattern myself after the Thunder, and you know, if you've got your Shea now and you've got, you know, a number two in VJ, you know, build it out with guys like McCain, and then a bunch of guys that can you know, play defense and have unique skill sets, and that's stuff that you can do. Or
like rebound.
Yeah, rebound. That would be helpful. So I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. But I do think the Sixers, you know, now again, we're comparing them to the Flyers. I'm not necessarily saying they're knocking on the door, but compared to the Flyers, like, what do they, you know, the guy who's
the problem is we have this conversation is you're kind of hitting your head on the ceiling a little bit, like, because you're still stuck with Embiid George for 2 more years.
Yeah, but you know, again, things change fast. You know, we thought they were stuck with Al Horford, you know, and then they weren't. You know,
Yeah, until they got another bad contract and place Al Horford.
Well, yeah, I believe me.
I mean, that's a problem. Like, that's the problem. And none of their young guys develop. Like, Bona still is a disaster when it comes to.
He's a bonehead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Paul Reed, the big wise. Yeah, I think that's, you can definitely make that case. I mean, Paul Reed obviously didn't develop all that much. But I mean, Maxi's developed,
Maxi's special.
Right. But you can't, but it's kind of unfair to not give a, he
developed because he had talent. Like coming out of Kentucky, I like, everybody wants to bend over backwards, giving Morey credit for that. Before the draft, I'm going, as the draft was going on that night, I'm going, oh, Maxi's there. You got a Kentucky guard that you saw a glimpse of him. You grab him. Like, that was an obvious pick.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, if the logic is, guys with talent will develop, but it's the people. So what I don't understand, like, if we're going to hold the Sixers, if we're going to blame the Sixers for the guys that haven't developed, but then, credit the actual guys for developing when they do develop, it's kind of an unwinnable situation, where, yeah, Maxey had talent. Maybe all these other guys who didn't develop just didn't have talent, and that's not necessarily on the Sixers for failing to develop them.
Yeah, but it's on them for identifying it.
Yeah,
you need more than two guys. Like, you need more than two guys. Like, I mean,
I just think, for them to be where they are with Tyrese, no one thought Tyrese. I'm with you. I like Tyrese Maxey from day one, but did I think that he was going to get to a point where he could posterize Anthony Edwards above the rim and be that kind of superstar? No, I didn't think. I never thought Tyrese Maxey was going to be even a number one or number two guy on a championship team.
I mean, listen, as they're drafting him, he's such a young talent that I'd be lying to say if I thought, he was going to emerge into that. But again, the pick itself makes sense.
Right, my whole point is they're sitting here in a position that they have no right to be in, given all the mistakes that they've made. Given the fact that Embiid and George, are here, they all of a sudden have a guy who could be a superstar, right? He could be one of your top, he could be a top 10 guy in the league. And then they have a guy in VJ Edgecombe who looks like he might even be better, who's much better than Maxey was as a rookie. And so when you just take those two things, I mean, it's an incredibly fortunate situation to be in, and I think it's I don't know what it doesn't get much better than that when you talk about ceiling. Like that's the hard part, is finding guys like that.
Yeah, but how you win in this league, and you saw last year when the Pacers were actually good and tried, they were deep, right? Like you had a lot of guys that could play roles. You look at OKC. Why are they so good? Because they're deep.
Yeah,
and the Sixers are as deep as a puddle.
Right, but you can't. They have to build that, But again, both of those teams built that within 2 or 3 years, and
what were they like? Where they been? Like, what have you been doing for the last how many years? Well, again, like, you got two guys. Who else I look when I project forward? Who do I go? Yeah, this guy's going to be part of it.
Trendon Watford.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I just think that that we'll have to see.
I mean, listen, I'm not expecting the answer. I mean, we know what the answer is.
No, I just
look at him and I go, I don't know why the other group has a like a blank slate type of thing. Like, let's see what they could put on. They can put on the page. They have a blank page
in terms of Flyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, the Sixers could have a blank slate too if you want to just cut Maxey and Edgecombe. Like, what? I don't understand what.
No, but you're hamstrung by George and Embiid. Like, that's going to impact what they can do. And the fact is, they don't have a lot of other young resources out there. That's all.
No, I'm with you, and I think that's probably what they were thinking of. I think that's the argument they would make in trading McCain, where.
Well, that's
You
why
know?
you shouldn't have traded McCain, is my point.
Well, I think they would say now we have draft capital to add guys or to get rid of Paul George's
Yeah, the
contract.
draft capital at the end of the first round.
I don't know what they're going to look. You don't talk about curmudgeon. This is like the most curmudgeon. Like,
What am I supposed to do? Spin nickels on my forehead for play the song? Like, not for nothing. They got embarrassed. They before the All-Star game, they lose at home against the Knicks. Allow the Knicks to take over Knicks fans and take over the building. Then post the All-Star break, they come back against Atlanta and they get embarrassed against Atlanta. They can't figure out a freaking double team. And then they go and lose to New Orleans and get outscored by 25 in the second half to the freaking Pelicans. And you want me not to be curmudgeonly?
well, I think if you're looking for them to contend this year, then yeah. But I think you're looking.
I want effort.
I think the question is, are they within? Could they? Put together a team within the next 2 years that wins a title? And I think the answer, you have to feel better. You have to feel a lot better about that than a lot of teams right now with Maxey and Edgecombe. I mean, again, you want to look at the Knicks.
Yeah, I love those two, but it's going to take more than that.
And
again, I see it. I don't see a direction from this group that tells me they have answers.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is. I really don't. I'm fascinated to see what they end up doing.
I'm frustrated. I got a coach that can't figure out a freaking double team. I'm serious. I got a GM that's trading away a young like you hold on to him and trade him before the draft. Like play the like if your eyes are he's coming off of knee surgery, right? So of course he's going to be slow. So give him some minutes to increase his value before you trade him. And trade him before the draft if that's the case.
I 100% agree with you, and I think, frankly, that the McCain thing, is going to be, we're seeing what he can do, right? He wasn't washed. A good team took him that had more guards than the Sixers did, and they found a way to turn him into a 6-man dynamo coming off the bench, and so clearly he has the capability. So if your coach couldn't figure that out, or if your GM misread it, then yeah, that's an argument that they need to go in a new direction. But we're just going to have to see. I think that this year was a gap year. It really nobody thought they were going to be.
Every year's a gap year with that squad.
I'm with you.
Oh my God, I got more gaps.
This is amazing.
I feel like Michael Strahan.
But I mean, the Flyers are in a gap decade,
Yeah, dude. Listen, I get it. I get that. But there's something about I've been through hell and back with this Sixer team.
So I'm actually a little more. I think I'm more. I think it's a more exciting time for them because they have a chance to build organically a little bit. It's not just one of the now. Maybe it won't be. Maybe Morial will go right back to trying to trade for.
How do you build it? Like, what are you building with? You don't have a lot of assets. You got a late first round pick. What are you building with?
But again, the whole point is they've got the two hardest. I guess the question is, could you build a contending team around Maxey and Edgecombe? With just with mid-level exception type guys, Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo. Like you're talking about the Knicks. None of the guys that the Knicks have required a huge amount of capital other than Jalen Brunson. It's not like they have. It's a bunch of role guys built around a superstar. Now OG again, if you could trade for an OG this year, absolutely. That's.
How are you doing that?
What do you mean?
How you don't have the assets to build what you think you're building? Like I don't know what you mean. Like all those guys, other than Brunson, are all above average players. They're above average role players. I mean, I don't like Towns, and he makes a lot of money. But whatever. Everybody else, they contribute. Like there's tangible things they do on the floor.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go back.
You got to see that
again. The guy I pointed to, Lou Dort, who's a personal favorite of mine, and who is very likely to.
Lou Dort.
I do love
Dude, every time he comes on the air, Dort.
He's a Dortsman.
Right, but like the Sixers could if they found someone to take Paul George's contract, attach a first round pick to it, they could have, $30 million of salary cap space next year. They have the Clippers unprotected pick. They have some things that they can do. It's just a question of, are they going to do it? I don't see. I guess I just don't see things the way I see things a lot more optimistically, I think.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, forget about the Flyers. They right now they don't have, like, to your point, they don't have Edgecombe and Maxey, right? I love those two players. I love those two kids. But I have not seen anything that tells me that they could build around them.
No, we're gonna have to find out. I think what you're essentially coming at it from, you just don't believe in the ownership of the coaching, which is perfectly valid, But I think a good coach and a good general, put it this way, I think a good coach and a good executive can absolutely build a winner out of what they, out of the building blocks that they have right now. I think you just don't think that Morey and Nurse are the guys to do it. And I'm a little more open-minded.
Open-minded or naive?
Well, I think that when you say they don't have any way to improve, I don't think that's true. Again, they have that Clippers pick can easily be traded. They're
they moved a ton of, I have to go back and see what they have. Well, I don't know off the top of my head. They moved a ton of assets. You know that.
Yeah, they have, but they have, come draft day, they'll have something like 3 or 4 tradable.
You really have an issue because, again, this is not Morey's fault, but the Embiid thing killed you. The extension is Morey's fault. Like, the extension for Embiid was the problem. Identifying George and thinking George had enough was a problem. Like, and they put you behind, and now you got to wade through those couple of years before you can kind of free up.
All I'm saying is we have this conversation at this time of year every year for the last 4 or 5 years. It's the same conversation we were having when Harden, the Harden summer, when the Daryl Morey is a liar summer. Morey somehow turned Harden into an unprotected first-round pick, and now this team that has a new lease on life. Now, again, you could say they lucked into the number 3 overall pick and get an Edgecombe, but I don't know what's going to happen with Paul George. But do I think that the Harden thing was going to work out the way? No, I thought they were dead in the water there. I thought I got to
ask you a question. Do you watch them every night?
No, no. I think
and therein lies our differences.
Yeah,
because if you would no, hear me out. If you would actually watch them, you would be as frustrated and as miserable as I am.
No,
actually watching them play against New Orleans in the second half, to actually watch them against the Knicks and just have no answers and just no effort, and watch them just get embarrassed. Like, I'm sorry, Murph, when you're watching it, consuming it, it's awful.
Well, I think that the Dalai Lama would say that suffering begins with attachment and the attachment and meaning that you're looking for out of your viewing experience. And I think that's the difference between me and you, where I'm watching them as, I'm very zen. I can watch them and turn them off and
you're not watching it. You admitted to me you're not watching it.
No, I said I'm not watching.
You're not watching them figure out a double team.
He said every night. He said he's not watching them every night.
I'm not watching them every night. I watch them against the T-Wolves.
Well, dude, you didn't see them against the Hawks, where the Hawks were doubling Maxey, and they couldn't figure that out.
you're living in a glass box of your own emotions. You know, you're assigning
Murph.
meaning. You're assigning meaning rather than just mindfully watching this team and accepting.
Mindfully?
Murph, this is, you don't know. We started off this show about Flyers needing patience in the rebuild. And the Flyer vocal contingency, we're like, what are you talking about? He sounds exactly like the Flyers vocal contingency in our chat when he talks about the Sixers. You don't have any belief in the coach or the GM, and that's exactly what the Flyer guys are saying on the other side. It's fascinating to watch this going on.
Yeah. I think you just got you've got, and I understand why you can't let go of Nurse and Morey. It's a very defeatist, self-defeating mindset. I think
are you in Tibet? Are you in a mountain in Tibet in a monastery or something right now?
Listen, I got a legitimate. If I want this conversation, I'm calling Pat Croce, who knows a lot more than you do when it comes to being a monk.
Yeah, he actually does. Hey, let's bring Pat Croce back, man.
Yes,
I'm all about that. He's down in like St. Augustine, isn't he?
Well, he's on Meditation Mountain in Pennsylvania. He still has his Key West spot, but he spends most of his time up here.
Where's Meditation Mountain?
It's in like Bucks County.
Well, I think maybe you might need to go join him for a little bit.
Oh man, please let me film that.
I watch this stuff and it just drives me insane, dude. It just does. I watch like how a team is just so, they have the lowest basketball IQ. It's just it's horrible. It's horrible. Like the reason why I'm a little zen on the Flyers is because I go, well, my expectations are what they are. I just got to pray that they can figure out a handful of guys that become players. So they got to get Michkov right. Like, I know this is a bad year, but I kind of expected down year. You've seen it before with kind of the arc of superstars. I believe in Martone. I get everybody's opinion on the rest of what they got, which is there's not a lot of belief. I wasn't a fan of the Dvorak move, so I get that. But they're still so far removed that I'm just trying to like go through stack some players. That's what that's about. They're still in the throes of a rebuild, a deep rebuild. The other team, they're not. The other team should have already had a title, or at least gotten out of the second round.
I'm with you. I'm just looking at it as this is, you got to let go of the past and again, I think that like anyone who's not absolutely over their skis, that they somehow have two young guys with the talent level that Maxey and Edgecombe have. Again, I'm not going to sit here and defend Morey, but imagine if they had those two guys. Imagine if Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz were those two guys. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
I could say that argument in every sport. Imagine if this guy was that guy and this draft became that draft. I mean,
the point is they
not Dalai Lama.
The point is the fact that they have not one but two of those guys, it's a very, 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 very big head start on trying to figure out. Yeah, I mean the George and Embiid thing, it's a big question, and it's a
head start. Like you're ready. Like, how long is the rebuild? We still in process mode? Obviously, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they are, but they're competitive at least.
Stop competitive. They're not competitive. That's the point.
I mean, on the nights he tends to tune in, sometimes they look competitive.
I mean, they've won more games than they've lost.
Okay. I mean, that's competitive to me is you're not a borderline playing team.
Well, I'm with you. I'm not expecting anything more than that out of them right now. And that's not
competitive. because they have no chance to make a run.
I'm not expecting them to be.
The word competitive to me means you had a chance to make a run.
Look, they are better than they are more fun to watch and more entertaining than I anticipated them being a year ago. And that's where I'm looking.
Fun to watch a team can't rebound, play defense, and figure out a double team. That's fun.
I look, man. I've given you my best.
Drives me insane, but hey, I'm looking at it wrong.
VG, where are you? I mean, am I? You know, I can't imagine.
I'm more optimistic about the Sixers personally.
All right, thank you.
Yes. They got 2 out of 5 pieces starting. At least they got half.
That's all you need, man.
Half a lineup.
They'll rebound at some point.
I also just know it's going to poke Cuz a little more, so I feel safe at this distance. I like watching someone else poke him and getting all fired up.
Yeah, I mean, look,
again, it's easy to poke when you don't watch it. If you watch it, then talk to me. Talk to me when you're watching it every night and it's not nails on the chalkboard. When you're expecting,
why do you continue to watch
quality basketball?
So crazy.
Exactly. Why? Why?
Like I saw the Pelicans game, I turned it off. I was like, all right, I'm not watching.
Dude, who cares what you do? You're just you go eat some Satan food. God, I can't take you on jumping into it.
Well, I think
Satan?
Satan.
The good news is baseball season is going to start, and we can train our angst elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm going to go in like clean slate and just go. Let's go
with the Phillies.
Yeah, that's my mindset.
Oh, the first time Adolis Garcia strikes out with Harper, Kyle Schwarber.
No, I'm pro good. Listen, I like Garcia.
The first time
I think he's
Nolan
gonna have a good year.
Bombs in the 3rd inning.
I think Garcia's gonna have a good year.
I just can't wait for the April bullpen fiasco, which is just an annual tradition, unlike any other. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it always does. We always talk ourselves silly into thinking, this is at least we don't have to worry about the bullpen this year. And then David Robertson goes 2 weeks without retiring.
Well, I mean, you didn't expect your guy to get popped for 100
or not David Robertson.
games.
Who was the guy last year? I don't even remember his name. Jordan Romano.
Romano.
Now we got Helen Keller out there.
Listen, I thought Brad Keller was a good
I'm actually a big Brad Keller fan. I think that they
Well, listen, they just need their starting pitching. Like Wheeler has to come back in May, which I think he is. And Nola can't be a gas can, and you're going to have to get something out of Painter.
Yeah, and I think that's exciting. I think the Painter's exciting. I think
Me too.
Look, Crawford. I've been not down on him, but more skeptical than consensus. And if he can do what he did in his first at bat, that's what they're waiting for, is a guy who can drive the ball rather than just slapping it. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun season. I think the Phillies are in a fun spot because you've got you've got Miller down there, and then you've got Crawford up here, and you've got Painter. And so you've got some, even Otto. Look, everyone snickers at Otto Kemp, but look, he brought some energy last year when he got in there, and it's interesting to see a guy. Can he take a step and become? I mean, look at the Blue Jays last year. They had a bunch of guys come from out of nowhere, Barger and Lukes, and the kid the local kid who almost threw the no-hitter, or did he throw the no-hitter? What was his name? Savage.
Oh yeah, that kid. I love.
That's the kind of stuff that really. I mean, they don't. If you look at that lineup, there's no reason the Phillies can't be that team. So I think it's going to be fun. And then you look at the Braves. They're already down 2 pitchers.
Oh, dude, I'm with you. Listen, I'm excited for Phillies. So,
yeah.
Didn't Otto Kemp have a knee issue too the second half? Like he got surgery.
Yeah. I think he was playing with a fractured. He was playing with a fractured kneecap, which.
Yeah. So maybe he gets a little more power this year.
Listen, we agree on Phillies. So I think we agree on the Eagles, Sixers. That's really it.
Well,
anyway, I love it. Dalai Lama, you're always a blast, man. I love
namaste.
Exactly. You just gotta,
I got this dude next to me every day. He pokes me.
There was a Family Matters episode back in the day where Urkel told Carl Winslow that he needed to say 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? And I think that's kind of where you're at right now. You need to channel some Urkel and
the guy's got a Sixers tattoo on his shoulder. I mean, I understand is
3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What's bothering me? They can't rebound. They can't play defense. They can't navigate against a double team.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Quarters of disaster.
Anyway, good stuff, Murph. That was fun. Great as always. Great.
All right, I'm gonna go up the meditation.
Kiss for us. All right.
I'm gonna go up the meditation mountain.
Well, thanks, buddy. I need to. Here he is, Murph, checking in on the Xfinity Mobile call-in line. A lot of fun. All right, we got a couple things to do, Jules. We got to do our stuff, and we got our back in the day. We got a couple of nugs. Is that so?
Yeah, I think we'll do a couple nugs.
Beaches nuts, nuts. It's just time for beaches nuts, beaches nuts.
Can I just say, Jay Tidwell, in reference to that Urkel episode, he says the guy Carl had a heart attack in that episode. The 3, 2, 1 thing didn't work. Let's call Murph. There's a guy going around, a lot of people like to go to all the baseball stadiums, might go to all the football stadiums, just to live it. There's a guy going around to the world stadiums, the biggest, most popular stadiums in the world, and finding the worst seat that you can buy and pay actual money for. And here are pictures of him sitting in these fully restricted view seats you can buy. Look at, he always sees the back of the end zone here. They're amazing. This one, I have no idea why they would sell this ticket.
That's horrible.
And this. Yeah, so this is what this guy's doing for fun. Traveling around the world, sitting in the worst seats he can for sporting events.
I think this is where social media jumps the shark.
You don't want to see a picture of him
I have no interest
behind
walls. I love stadiums, so doing a trip in a world stadium, that's great. Sitting in a bad seat, I'm out.
There's one of these in my section, or the section right next to me, Citizen Bank Park. It's a single seat all by itself behind a giant post.
I hear you, dude. I don't know if I want to go see that seat in every stadium in the world.
All right, this will get you excited, I think. Wake Forest is cranking out some really good pitchers. They're not paying a lot of NIL stuff. They're focusing on technology. So we got a little video, a little minute into the technology that Wake Forest is using for their pitching.
Wake Forest just invested $12 million into this. When I played baseball in the ACC for Pitt back in the day, practice was on the mound with a ball, a glove, and maybe a radar gun. But this thing, it is next level. Wake Forest is using 16 high-speed cameras and 3D motion capture to study their own bullpen. But it's not just about perfect pitching. They built a partnership with medical experts to measure the exact stress on a pitcher's elbow and shoulder to prevent injuries. And this isn't just for pitchers. The sluggers can get in on some of this action too, and it has a pitching machine that uses video projections and AI to mimic the exact release, point, and spin movement of any pitcher in the world. Imagine practicing against a guy you're facing on Friday night before you even step on the bus. That's a huge advantage, and the results speak for themselves. In 2023, Wake Forest was the only program to have 4 pitchers taken in the top 100 picks of the MLB draft. Brett Lauder was 7th overall, Sean Sullivan was 46th overall, Seth Keener was 84th overall, Teddy McGraw was 92nd overall, and while other schools were out throwing money at stadium upgrades and NIL spending, Wake Forest spent $12 million on a lab that basically guarantees pro-ready rotations. Because it's not just about investing in recruits, it's about investing in the talent that you already have.
I love it, man. I'm into that.
Yeah.
You're right. That's cool.
You gotta get Mosca to trip down.
I'm already. You're one step. I mean, you know where my head's at.
Dude, it's pretty
Mosca,
nuts.
get out here. I gotta put the cameras on his chest.
It's pretty wild that they can simulate any pitcher in the world too, and you can take batting practice against it. That's pretty wild with the release point and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And you can do it
good
with hitters too. Like you can throw against the hitter.
Yeah. I wanted to run this play. We can't play it because there's a highlight issue. But Paul Pierce was on a podcast, No Fouls Given, where he had an idea how to fix the NBA, and he wants the 3-point line to be an LED light, and the light goes on and off. So he says in a 48-minute game, the light should only be on for maybe 30 minutes, and they will teach people. You'll have to see people ball, get open shots, 2-pointers, make mid-range jumpers. What do you think about that?
Wow, I love it. It's interesting.
I'm in with it.
I mean, it's an interesting concept.
His thought process is everyone just stands around and shoot threes. They're not playing ball anymore.
Well, he's right. I mean, that's the crux of the matter. I want to get into this at some point too, because I heard KD was ripping. He was killing about the USA Americans versus the Euros. And he was pissed off that the Euros get a lot of love about how they play the game. And in reality, how they play the game, the only thing that's different is ball movement as opposed to pick and roll, right?
Yeah.
It's like American basketball has just become pick and pop. Like, that's it. It's all pick and roll. Whereas the Euro game, there's just way more movement of the basketball, and you're moving without the basketball.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of spatial awareness and knowing where to go with the flow to move to spots to get open. Yeah.
And so it's different because, again, like the Americans are way more athletic in how we play the game. I just think we rely too much on the athleticism and the shooting, right? Like we're just pick and pop, and that's it. Whereas, and I think something like this, where you get more, physicality, more ball in, like, let's see the innate athleticism. I don't think you use the athleticism enough.
I agree. And in the discussion of that disappearing 3-point line, someone said if the line doesn't disappear, maybe there's a cap. You can only make 12 3-pointers a game. And after that, everything you shoot from behind the line counts as 2.
I like Paul Pierce's accent anyway. Like it should be like the 3-point line should be open during the fourth quarter. Like at some, maybe not early, you got to pick your spots, but like at least the last 6 minutes of the game, you got to give it a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I thought it was a good idea.
I mean, maybe it's just fourth quarter. I don't know.
There's a local writer, Destiny Legardo. She's down at spring training. She had an observation. I saw it this weekend, and I was like, she might be right. White pinstripes for the Phillies before opening day bothers her. Why don't they just wear the red in spring training? And I kind of like, when I looked at it, I was like, I think she might be right when I was watching the game. I think the pinstripe should be only for the season. It looks like it's nice and formal to me.
Huh.
Because they usually wear like the spring training jerseys. Yeah, I'm more of a fan of that for spring training. I don't know. It felt like the game meant something. It looked too formal for me with the pinstripes. You're indifferent?
I am, to be honest with you.
What? Yeah? All right.
Yeah, I don't. Formality in a baseball uniform?
I don't know. It just looks real. Like it's spring training. We're seeing a bunch of goofballs who haven't earned the right to wear pinstripes.
We see them go out with a cutoff T-shirt?
No, you know what they got. They usually wear the red spring training shirts. Like there was a game between like the Orioles and the Tigers. They're both just wearing orange spring training shirts.
Yeah, I got out, to be honest with you. I have not thought about that. It's not on my radar.
All right. How about this one? Angels owner. Angels haven't been good for a bit. The owner says the number one thing fans want is affordability. They want affordability. They want safety, and they want a good experience when they come to the ballpark. Believe it or not, winning is not in their top 5. How do you think that would play in Philadelphia?
It's a joke. I agree with affordability. Well, safety is obvious.
Yeah,
right. I don't know where safety. Well, how could you even say safety
Like his payroll's low because he's got to hire extra security.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm going to go. Where am I going? What's this? Like Alcatraz Island?
I'm
like,
getting
am I going to Alcatraz?
Right.
What are you talking about? Safety.
We don't pay a lot of revenue, but you can't bring nunchucks into the stadium. It's a very safe environment.
Like, that's insane. All right, so it's two things. It's affordability and winning, right? Like that's it.
Yeah. And I have to give props to the, I don't know if it's everywhere, but Philadelphia, when you can bring your own food, that helps. I'll roll in with a hoagie, bring my own water in, soft pretzels. I always like that aspect. But yeah, that way that guy's out of his mind. I don't know why anyone would go play there. And if he was an owner in Philadelphia, he'd be skewered.
Not top five. That's insane.
Not top five.
I mean, go safety. Like
He's named two.
Like, you get no points.
Is safety.
Like, that goes without saying. All right.
But what are the other three? There's three more he hasn't named that are above winning.
He's probably going to say
fireworks, post game concerts.
He's probably going to give you concessions.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. Well, if I go to a game, I'm not going to a game for the concessions. Like, give me the basics if I'm there. Like, do I need anything exotic?
No.
I mean,
I feel like every year
I want to go watch the game. Like, I want it to be fun atmosphere, but like the food, I don't need. Give me simplicities of the beer. Again, you want to have all the staples, nachos, and besides dogs and pizza and popcorn and pretzels and whatever.
Yeah.
But like anything, like going too crazy, like give me a cheesesteak. All right, like I get it, but like I don't need some crazy kind of thing. Like, I gotta get.
I agree with you. And you gotta have the helmet ice cream. Other than that, we're good.
Yeah. Anyway,
right,
good stuff. Good nugs.
Yeah.
Good nugs. Let's go back in the day.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with True Mark. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if it's a movement where you live, but there's an article, I think there's somewhere, maybe in a suburb of Philadelphia, where parents and teachers are getting together and they don't want devices during the school hours. Kids put their stuff in one of those bags. Well, here we go back to 1986, where math teachers were protesting the use of calculators in South Carolina, saying if they can use calculators too early, they won't learn any math concepts. These guys at 86 seem to be like soothsayers because now nobody can do long division, anything like that. So I just thought it was interesting to relate that an issue we're having right now, there were these nice math teachers in South Carolina who felt the need to take some signs and protest against calculators.
Yeah.
So that's the back in the day on February 24th when there's nothing happening.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like both kids' school, no, you're not allowed to have in class.
No calculators?
No
phones?
No phones. No phones.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so your kid's got that's good schooling going on.
No, I mean, like, in fact, I really like the Anthony science teacher at St. Augustine. They all do it. All the teachers do the same thing. They collect the phones before class, and then after class, they pick them up. So you still have the ability to have your phone in between the classes, and God forbid there's an emergency.
Yeah,
but I agree. Like, there's no reason why they should have your phone. Like, you know, it'll help them learn.
You ever have a kid when you're coaching have a phone with them on the court?
No.
I've had a kid where his phone popped out in the middle of a game.
And during a game?
Yeah, he had it in his shorts.
No.
Yeah.
No. I would not put up with that. I don't like that at all. No. I don't want them on their phones in the dugout.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a lot of downtime there, too. What do? They must be going nuts.
Yeah. Watch the game. Root for your teammates. Study the pitcher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crack some shells, eat some sunflower seeds.
Yeah. Chew some gum. I like it. Great stuff. A lot of fun, as always. Interesting conversation. Thanks to the chat. The chat was It's interesting. Like you gave me some good insight into the Flyer stuff. I'd like to get even deeper with that. But I like
they want some hope. They don't have any hope right now. For
what I would love. I don't know if they would do it, but I would love to have a discourse,
like a round table.
Yeah, or at least where everybody pops on.
Yeah,
I would love that. I think that would be a fun to get everybody who comments in the chat. Hey, let's have a conversation for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
that's what I miss about talk radio is the audience and the callers. I know the callers they were less than 1% of the audience, but I thought they were representative of the audience in a lot of ways. And I used to get a lot of very intelligent, interesting callers that were some were characters, but if you listen, they were good sports people, man. They know their stuff and they have a good conversation. And look, the thing is that I'm not infallible. I don't know. There are things I might have not thought of something. Oh wow, that's a good thought, right? You forget half the stuff. It's good discourse. So I love that. I would like to do that with the Flyers. I think it's important.
I think it'd be great. I think it would be.
I want that sport back.
Educational for us, but I also just want to.
I got mad. As much as I rail on the Sixers because ancillary nonsense, it drives me insane. But I got two cores that I love, right? Edgecombe, Maxey. I love Maxey.
Yeah.
Maxey and Edgecombe. I'm at least I'm not going to leave them. I got those two, right? I got to get the Flyers back.
I think you want them back so bad that you got hope for it, but the contingency of people who are hopeless right now.
I get it. Maybe I'm sure. Listen, and I go full disclosure, right? I've known Jonesy 1,000 years, right? If I told you, you know this, but I like these late night games, right? So Jonesy being studio during the playoffs or during TNT stuff, during big games or whatever it is. And so I would be texting him, talk that during the game, yo, dude, how about that? I do it with Boosh. I love that. Just talking about the game. And then we'll jump on the phone and just talk about the game. I mean, I believe the guy knows what he's looking at.
Yeah.
It's hard. Listen, I'm not going to, obviously it's drafting young talent is an inexact science. I don't know.
I think there's a little bit of doubt in both the Phillies and the Flyers with their development right now, and hopefully it changes.
Yeah,
I mean, you're 3 years into a new regime, drafting changing up the whole development system. That takes a bit of time.
Yep. All right, great stuff, my brother. Thanks to Jules, killed it. Ethan killed it. We love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.